Salute to the nation. Merry Christmas to everybody. Happy Hanukkah. Happy holidays. Whatever you're into, whether you celebrate or you don't. Hope y'all had a blessed day today. Shout out to the slate of football, right? We got to see 3 games on Christmas. Not a bad day of football. The Washington Commanders, the Dallas Cowboys, you know, Dallas Cowboys letting the Washington Commanders continue to get better with another loss. They stay up there in that, top 10 for the first round pick. Um, who else do we have? The Vikings. Man, defense still wins footballs. Imagine that, right? In the NFL these days, with all these overpaid quarterbacks, um, high picked running backs, defense still wins footballs. It's absolutely amazing. I never thought I'd see the day where, you know, the NFL where defense still wins football, still wins football games. With the Minnesota Vikings, they've been doing it all season long. The Broncos been winning football games all season long on defense. Defense. Man, shout out to everybody in the building. What's good? Geo Mex in the place to be. Chris was good. Choo choo, the Bills train pulling in. Yeah, they pulling into the playoffs. We're pulling we're pulling into the vacation time. Time to go fishing, right? Time to go fishing. Greg Brewer in the build. What's good? Merry belated Christmas. If you're on the East Coast, it's not Christmas anymore, right? But anywhere else, it's still Christmas, unless you're in another country. But here, where I'm at, now Merry Christmas. I still got my Raider Christmas gear on. I'll take this damn hat off. But what's good, man? How's everybody feeling? How are y'all feeling for the games that we watched? Minnesota, the Detroit Lions are out of the playoffs. The Detroit Lions get knocked out of the playoffs by a struggling Minnesota Viking team with a third string quarterback drafted in the 7th round, right? Bozemeyer was drafted in the 7th round, I do believe. Meanwhile, the Raiders are still playing Geno Smith. And no, you can't make this shit up. You can't. You just can't make it up, bro. You can't make it up. I don't know how many quarterbacks have started already when you have a Cam Miller that's been on the practice squad all season long. Shout out to my Raider head. Uh, been on the practice squad all season long, going up against the first team defense, right? We've won 2 games all year. We don't want any. I mean, the players want to win, but nobody else wants to win any more games. Why are we not seeing Cam Miller, man? Why why is every other team smart enough? The Miami Dolphins decided, let's start Carson Beck. Is it Carson Beck? Yeah, Carson Beck. The Saints have started 3 quarterbacks this year. Why is it the Raiders are still starting Geno Smith? Can anybody explain to me? Shout out to everybody in the building. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, all that good stuff. Appreciate the 24 people in here. But can anybody explain to me? Somebody, please explain why Geno needs to be out there. Brock Bowers, in case you didn't get the news, Brock Bowers is placed on the injured reserve. He will be done for the season. The last 2 games, no Brock, no Jeremy Chin either. We might get to see a whole lot of Tristan McCollum, possibly, maybe, just maybe. Week week 15, week 16, we might get to see Decamarion Richardson. Like, wouldn't it be nice to see a third round corner drafted 2 years ago get some playtime? I mean, sounds smart to me. Sounds smart to me. Who we got in the building? What's good, man? Fly, Eagles, fly. How far you think you're all gonna go? Y'all think you make it to to the NFC Championship. Y'all got some dogs, bro. You got to watch out for the Rams. The Packers just solidified their spot into the playoffs, right? So the Green Bay Packers are in because of the Lions' loss. There's some tough teams in the playoff. Last year, it looked like a lot of teams that got in the playoffs were, I think there was a couple teams like 6 and 7 that ended up winning their division. Are there any teams like that this year? Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the comments. Um, See you guys on Sundays. Eagles, Bills. Ooh, that's gonna be a good one. Is that this Sunday? Eagles, Bills. Do you know how to make money on Prize Picks? No. You want to show me? Do you want to show me? I don't have Prize Picks where I'm at, so I can't play. I can't. I don't get anything, bro. I don't get Prize Picks. I don't get FanDuel. I don't get what's the other ones? I don't get none of those. Hard Rock Bets. Man, I can't get nothing in Arkansas. They don't allow us to they don't allow us to play play anything. Not even online, bro. Some sad shit. The Rams suck. How you gonna explain to me why the Rams suck? Please. 22 people in the building. Can I get a double tap on the screen? If you're watching on the phone, double tap the screen. If you're watching on your TV, then it's all good. Tush push for the win. Ooh. Yeah, I don't know. The tush push hasn't been working very good. So I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna be able to pull the tush push off for the win. It hasn't worked like it has in years past. I'll be a Raider fan till I die. Shout out Johnny B. Good in the building. Yeah, I'm gonna be one till I die too because I look kind of funny rooting for the Bills or the Steelers or the Giants. Walking around like this. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. There's a reason I got that because I'm gonna be one till I die too. Um, Hurts 1.5 anytime touchdown. What else you got for me? What else? Let me write these down. Let me write these down. I'll just fuck with you. What else you got? I'll take your bets, bro. I'll play some money on it. Hook me up. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. What else? What else? What you got for the Raiders game? I need some Raider bets. Give me some Raider bets. Take the under on everything. Geno Smith, 150 yards. Take the under. Ashton Genty, if it's 55, 60 yards, probably take the under. If it's Jack Besh with no Brock Bowers, you might want to take the over. I'm just saying. I don't know. But what's good, man? How was everybody's Christmas? Let me know. Let me know the 11 people in here. What was your number one gift that you got? And who was it from? Who was it from? Was it from your mom? Was it from your girl? Was it from your sneaky link? Was it from your sneaky link? Sneaky link? Was it from your children? Who? Who? Where? What'd you get? What was it? Man, 36 people for a minute. They dipped. What else we got going on? You want to tell? You want to tell you? Want me to tell y'all what I had? I'll tell you what I had today. See how close I was. Let's see what I got. Oh gosh, yeah, I did horrible. let's not. Let's not look at my best. Let's not look over those. You just heard Josh Allen might not play. He has a foot injury. Man, that's not going to keep Josh Allen out. That's not in playoff contention. Did they already clinch? If they're not already clinched, there's no way he sits out. My surprise gift today was $400 win on a square on the Cowboys game. Damn! Shout out to GeoMex in the building. Got the super fire gift. I need one of those. Yeah, I can't get none of that stuff. It's boring. It's so bad. Well, shout out to you, man. Congratulations on the come up for sure. Yeah, that's fire right there. What I had today, I had Jimmy Butler, a long shot, 2.5 offensive rebounds. He had two. I had Cooper Flag, I had higher than 39 points, rebounds, and assists. He had 38. Damn it, bro. I had Anthony Davis. He got hurt. I had Kevin Durant higher than 26 and a half. He had 25. That's how my Christmas went. Damn. I had Kevin Durant 7.5 assists. He had 8. I had Austin Reeves with 6.5 assists. He got hurt. I got rescued. Damn it! So I really only lost. Oh, I lost 3 bets by 1 point or less. I'm like the Las Vegas Raiders, bro. I'm like the Raiders, bro. 100,000%. That's what I'm like. Golly. On the other one, I had Isaac Tesla with a touchdown. Check. Jameer Gibbs, 115 rushing and receiving. Ouch. Ouch. I had LeBron James over 20.5. He had 18. Come on, bro. You killing me here. Killing me here. I had Austin Reeves over 22 and a half. A rescue. He got hurt. He was at 12 in the first quarter. I had RJ Harvey with a touchdown. Check. Damn. Yeah, I didn't do very good. I didn't do very good today. Did not do very good today. Golden, what's good? What's good? How are you doing? What's up, man? All right, so let's talk. Let's talk some Raiders football. Yeah, let's just talk some football in general. Did anybody else come up off any of the games? I didn't mess with any of them games. And what do you, let's talk about the Denver Broncos, the Kansas City Chiefs. Right? They pulled a lot of starters or put them on, injured or out for the game. Maybe they were injured because the Chiefs looked like they were coming out and playing. They had the Denver Broncos on the ropes, 13-13. The defense, their number one defensive star, and Chris Jones is gonna jump off the sides after he just turned around and told everybody, "Don't jump, don't jump, don't jump," and then he jumps. Come on, man! Football is crazy. That shit gets so um, more and more every week. The more I watch and all these shit that comes out about it being rigged and it's all about money and the gambling now. They just make it look too much like that. It's too much. It's too easy, bro. It's too easy. It's too easy. I don't know how your star player tells everybody don't jump and then he jumps and he lines up. He lines up over the ball. Like that's just that's just blatant stupidity, bro. And I've never seen that from the Chiefs. But you know, they need a running back. They're gonna need another tight end, and maybe they're trying to keep somewhere in a 6 or 7 win range. What are they? 6-10. The Kansas City Chiefs are 6-10, bro. That's Christmas right there. That's Christmas right there. Can I get a thumbs up in the chat for that? Thumbs up if you're pumped up that the Kansas City Chiefs only won 6 games this year and might win 7. Hopefully they win 7. Please God they win 7. Yeah. Run away with the animatronics. All right, man. Let's test rated knowledge. Anybody want to participate? You go ahead. I thought there's gonna be more people on here on a Friday night, but probably a lot of people starting their hangover. But things we should know. Things we should know. Um, the Raiders, right? They went into they went into Houston. They played one hell of a game going to the end of the season. Was it a fluke? Were they overlooked? Right? Bless you. A lot of people think that they were overlooked. Coming into the game, Houston was riding high. They were on a 4 game winning streak, right? They have the best defense in football. And then all of a sudden, here come the Raiders that, have won 2 games. There's talks of their head coach being fired, right? There's all this shit going around. Um, no, but that's probably how you came about. Your mom probably dropped the soap. But is there such thing as a perfect loss? I've heard a lot of talk about the Raiders had the perfect loss. I don't know if there is a such thing as a perfect loss, but I will say it was a very elegant loss, right? 21-23. They fought the whole entire game. They had an interception for a touchdown. Raider fans know that's it, bro. Lights out, game over, right? A turnover, let alone a turnover for a touchdown. You know, the game's done. However, they hung in there. They fought. Were they fighting for each other? I believe, and a lot of other people believe, that's what they're fighting for, right? They're fighting for the guys in the building. They like this group they have. I think they just want somebody to come in and coach them. And maybe they're fighting for their coach, right? I'm not in the building. I'm just a fan. So, you said, why am I so rude? Hell, you mean, why am I rude, bro? You come in here and ask people if they ever dropped the soap. Why would I do some stupid shit like that? And why do you assume that I've been to prison? But I'm the rude one. Okay, I feel you. I feel you. It's all good though. But is there such thing as as a quality loss? And I guess if you're a fan and you're on the tank train, on the tank, and that's what you're rooting for, then I guess there is a such thing as a quality loss. As long as they're competitive, as long as they're showing a little bit of fight towards the end of the season, like they haven't shown all year. Because in a lot of games, the Raiders just got totally dominated, kind of like some of the teams did today. The Washington Commanders, they've been dominated in every game pretty much since they beat us, and they beat us by a lot. I mean, a lot. Was it like 37-10 or 13 or something, and only because we scored in garbage time. So look, the team didn't start out good. It started out absolutely horrible, and this is not the time for them to be picking up speed. So I feel like it's time to pull the plug on everybody. Indonesia, shout out to Indonesia. I'm 13 and my dad, and I am going to the Broncos Chargers game. Whoo! What are you a fan of? Who are you a fan of? Empower my first NFL game. We brought tickets and gave them to me today. Shout out to your dad, man. That's a hell of a present. Are you a Chargers fan? Are you a Broncos fan? Let me know. Mendoza Bowl this Sunday. That's the how is it the Mendoza Bowl? You really think the Giants are gonna draft Mendoza if they lose this game? Come on, I just don't see that. It could be Daniel Flores. Raiders suck ass. Well, yeah, that's why we're on here talking about them. We're trying to get them better. Trying to get the owners to wake up. Right. We're trying to get this. Cause some noise any way we can. So double tap the screen, share the live. Right. If you're a Raider fan, get this shit out there. We just want to be better. We deserve better. The team deserves better. The city of Las Vegas deserves better. The city of Oakland and LA that we left deserves better. Everybody deserves better. We just want better. Wow, you're a Raider fan? Just a little bit. Not a lot, but a little bit. Quality loss is kind of like coping. Yeah, it's definitely like coping, but when you're 2-13, right? What else do you have to play for? I mean, you're sitting at the number two spot, so I'm not trying to cope. I'm trying to develop for the future and hope this team gets better. That's what I'm wanting, and I'm sure that's what everybody wants for their team, right? To get better every single year, whether it's 1%, 2%, 5%. The Las Vegas Raiders meet Philadelphia Eagles and the Green Bay Packers. Um, nice. Bear down. A Bears fan in the building. Y'all are looking solid, man. Y'all are looking solid. Yo, that is rude to say. You can't tell anyone if they've been to jail. Nah, but people can assume. Assuming just makes an ass out of themselves, so it's all good. Don't matter who you draft or sign, they're still gonna suck. Damn. Damn, G. Giants traded the Jets for three first what? Three first round picks? Giants trade to the Jets. Three first round picks to us. Who's us? You a Raiders fan? That'd be a three-way trade. That'd be crazy. Coming from the Bears fan, I feel y'all basically the AFC version of us. Well, hey, if we're the AFC version of you, I'll take that all day because y'all turned it around this year. Getting a new coach, right? Fixing the O line. Boom. We went and got some, two Pro Bowlers, made some trades, brought in some rookies. Went and got my guy Tevin Jenkins that I wanted the Raiders to draft 2 years ago, but they never listened to the fan base, right? We don't know shit. We just sit there and study all these players, watch all these players, check all their info, like the same thing that their scouts do, probably even more sometimes, but they don't listen. But yeah, man, the Bears, I'll take that. I don't mind being the Bears of the AFC, especially if y'all end up making it to a good run in the playoffs. I'll take that all day. Raiders are so good. Yeah, yeah, we are. Which one you got? The Raiders. What? Which one's got to go? Raiders or Vapes? Vapes. You like what? You like golden showers, Nick? That's just weird, bro. That's crazy. Why you coming here talking about some stuff? This is a family show, even though it's late night. There's kids that are on Christmas vacation coming here talking about golden showers. Better get Gruden back if you want to go anywhere. Um, I mean, for a Steelers fan, that's a great observation, but I'm sure you probably don't follow the Raiders much. John Gruden was there when they moved to Vegas in 2020. Mark Davis wanted Tom Brady to be the Las Vegas Raiders quarterback. When he left the New England Patriots, John Gruden vetoed it. John Gruden was the coach and said, nope, I'm the coach. You gave me the decisions, and I'm keeping Derek Carr. He didn't want Tom Brady. So the story goes. Tom Brady goes to Tampa Bay, wins a Super Bowl, and then comes back, takes over, comes back. Gruden gets fired from some emails that got leaked. I don't think it's a good situation, bro. I don't think it would ever work. And a lot of people hate the way Gruden drafted. They traded away Khalil Mack and wasted both of the first round picks on players that were gone in the next year. It's that we're trying to turn it around quick, right? We have a small window for Brock Bowers. We have a tinier, little bigger window for Ashton Genty. The window is collapsing for Max Crosby, right? We got to do something fast. We have a lot of star players that we can't afford to pay, and they're going to lose a lot of good draft picks in the next 2 or 3 years if they can't get this shit going like overnight in the next year. Seahawks are legit. Go Packers. Happy Christmas. Um, you're a Steelers fan. Calm down. That's not nice. Look, Aaron Rodgers is playing his ass off, bro. Father Time out there playing, you know, comes into training camp. The last day was like, yeah, I'll sign with y'all. I'll play for y'all. And then he's out there just dogging it, bro. I mean, he hasn't been great, but he's played better than Geno Smith. I would have much rather had Aaron Rodgers for the $12 million that they're paying him than Geno Smith's 32 whatever the hell $1 million contract it is with 66 mil guaranteed. The Steelers are in a way better situation than the Raiders are right now. The Jets need a new team. I mean, when you got the draft capital the Jets have, you got an up and coming coach that's a great defensive mind. If he can just get the right offensive coordinator in place, and maybe he thinks he has one, the Jets will be all right. The Jets will be all right. They've had a lot of high draft picks over the years. I mean, they still got a damn good running back. Just needs a better defense and weapons around him. They have a decent team over there. They got a lot of top round players. Will they fit the scheme? I don't know. But I think the Jets are on the rise if they could figure out the quarterback situation. Possibly, I thought they'd be much better with Justin Fields. How that failed, I think it has to do with the offensive coordinator and the staff over there. They might want to reevaluate that at the end of the year, and I'm pretty sure they will. Who's um who's y'all's college team? I'm a Razorbacks fan. Woo pig suey. I like Razorback basketball. I like Razorback football. I also like, you know, that's pretty much it. I root for USC. I root for UCLA. We probably should have, what? Probably should have lost to the Raiders too, but still, they come a long way. Ohio State. I mean, if you're gonna root for a team, right, you might as well root for a champion. Damn. Do you think Tim Brown gets overlooked in history? I know Tim Brown gets overlooked in history. One of the greatest receivers of all time. I mean, if you look at, hold on, here, let me tell you. Let me tell you this. I'm glad you said that. Let me pull up some, if I could find it. I gotta get off this leg. Oh God, that's hurting. All right, let's check this out. Tim Brown's quarterbacks over his career. Wait, what? Okay, that's not right. Oh, that's right. All right, so Tim Brown played with the likes of Rich Gannon, Jay Schrader, 4 seasons, I do believe. Jeff Hostetler. It says four. I don't think it was 4 years. I'm gonna have to double check on that. And Jeff George, Jeff George, on teams that were, uh, shit. I don't even 6-8. I do believe. I think we were four, not four. I think we're better than that. But I think a couple 5-win seasons in there. So yeah, Tim Brown for his stats, for his numbers, maybe not on another team, right? But for a team like the Raiders, as bad as they've been over the last 40 years almost. Yeah, Tim Brown is highly overlooked. He was so smooth. Like, just go back and watch Tim Brown highlights if you can. You can Google it. You can go to YouTube right here, and shout out to the people in the building. Double tap the screen, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're picking up what I'm putting down. Appreciate it. But yeah, go to YouTube, watch some Tim Brown film. It's just he was like a gazelle, man. Gazelle, smooth routes, not the fastest guy, huge strides, great hands. Great knowledge of the game, great route runner, and just another Raider that needed more weapons around him. I mean, it's the story of Raider Nation since the '70s. It's like, yeah, I know we won a little bit in the '80s, but since the '70s, man, that's or you could say the '80s. That's it's been a story. Summerlin Vegas here. What's up? Shout out to Summerlin. Yeah, I spent many moons in Vegas. Laughing my ass off. Ravens suck ass too. Merry Christmas to you. Merry Christmas to you, man. I don't know if it's still Christmas where any of y'all are at, but shout out. Happy holidays to everybody in the building. Send Max to Seattle. Early detections is key. You're funny. I don't think Max is going anywhere, man. That dude's gonna die a Raider. He's just a glutton for punishment, right? He says he wants to be the best, to be the greatest of all time. And I think you'd have a better chance of doing that if you went to another team, like Reggie White did, right? Like who else am I thinking of? Shit, I don't know. Romanowski was a dog with the Broncos, but he was still that year or two with the Raiders. So, sometimes players need to change the scenery and pick Raiders' best four players in the building and build around them. The best four players in the building would be Max, Brock, Ashton Genty, and Colton Miller, I guess. I mean, you could say JPJ, but not at the moment. I don't. I think he's still got a lot of work to do. Um, Caleb Rogers, the rookie, looks like somebody to build around. I would already been calling Eric Stokes' agent and saying, "Yo, what do we got to do to sign this man long term?" I think Eric Stokes had a hell of a season, and even if we get somebody that beats him out at the starter position, he's still a backup. He can still play slot. So, but man, if we just take those four guys on a team that's the fifth or sixth youngest team in all of the NFL, even with the older people that we've brought in, like Alex Kappa, um, like Stone Forsythe, right? I don't want to say older, but in the NFL, that's older. 27, 28, 29. That's up there. So I heard the Bears might move to India. That's crazy, bro. That would be crazy. Who would fly like, they wouldn't be able to have home games. That wouldn't make sense. Wouldn't make sense. Do you think Super Bowl. What? Oh, who do you think Super Bowling this year? Sorry, bro. You need some spaces in that. Furpo in the building. Merry Christmas to you. Raiders. Um, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot of teams. I think this is the one of those years where you can't really tell, right? It could be anybody. The Broncos, they could collapse. The Bills, or they could collapse, right? It could be the Patriots. They got a young quarterback, a pretty young team. They could collapse. So it's kind of hard to say exactly who would be in the Super Bowl. I believe the way the New England Patriots are playing, they have three running backs. They have, not a lot of stars, besides Diggs over there on the offense as receivers. Drake May is a dog. He throws the ball to everybody, on that roster that gets in the game. So their defense is playing lights out. They got a couple Raiders over there, Caleb on chasing, excuse me, Robert Spillane. So I think the Patriots with Josh McDaniels, his playoff experience at calling games, at game planning, at scheming. He also has uh I can never say dude's name right, so I'm not gonna try to say it. But the passing game coordinator over there, who a lot of people believe is gonna be the next up and coming, star offensive coordinator. Go look it up. Sketchlaw, something like that. I can't. I don't know. It's a lot of letters that I don't understand. I think it's German, but it's just saying. New York had the fourth, 18th pick. The fourth and the 18th. Giants think they need a have a franchise coordinator back in Dart. If the Raiders get the number one pick, trade for two first rounds and a future first. Giants would do the same if they keep the first round pick. Uh, John Seven. I hear you, my guy. 100%. I'm on the exact same train as you are. That number one pick is the most valuable thing you could possibly get when you're a horrible franchise. Okay, not horrible, but horribly ran. Just because everybody's pulling everybody in a different direction and nobody has a game plan or the same vision. But yeah, that pick is valuable, man. If you can get, two or possibly three first round picks and you only move back three spots, you could turn around and trade those for another possible two first round picks and another second or third. So that number one pick becomes the most valuable thing on the planet when you have one quarterback in the first round that everybody wants, right? The numbers go up, and they go up. When you have a guy like Fernando Mendoza that, if he does come to the combine and throw, I think he's going to, impress a lot more people, right? We'll see, what drills he does if he runs 40 times. I don't think any of that matters. But a lot of people say, that he's a franchise quarterback. A lot of people say he's got his comp is Jared Goff. A lot of people say it's um the hell's the Kirk Cousins, right? All had pretty good careers, right? Pretty decent careers. I believe he's a lot, above that in my opinion. But the point is, when you have one quarterback that everybody on the planet is fighting for, okay, not everybody on the planet, but at least six teams, maybe seven or eight, maybe nine, right? You don't know about the Arizona Cardinals. They might move on. It looks like the Dolphins are moving on. Do they have a guy in the future? We'll find out this week, right? Or in a couple days. So it begs the question. It begs a big question. Do they trade the pick? Do they stick and pick because everybody thinks they need a quarterback? And I mean, it's obvious the Raiders need a quarterback. There's no denying that. But you never know what they got in the building, right? You never know. But you bring one in and you let him compete. But does it have to be in the first round? I don't know. Does it have to be in the first round where there's only one first round quarterback being projected? If Dante Moore doesn't come out, if Ty Simpson doesn't come out, that narrows it down to one quarterback in the first round. Teams are going to be like hounds over that, right? And maybe even teams that have decent quarterbacks that might think this one is better and they can trade what they got, right? Maybe the Dallas Cowboys want to move on from Dak Prescott. I mean, they got a lot of capital. They could do that. So it's gonna be a wild ride, man. It's gonna be a wild ride. And the Jets sitting there, where are they at right now at the Tankathon? Three, four? Hold up, let me look. Tankathon. It's the greatest thing ever, the Tankathon. Shout out to everybody in the building, rocking with your Bizoy. Um, I guess you have to put NFL. Damn it. Yeah, there we go. So the Jets are sitting at number four. Number four. I'm sure somebody put that in the chat, but I'm so far behind. Furpo, what's good, my guy? I hope you had a Merry Christmas. I hope everybody in here had a Merry Christmas, Happy Holiday. If you work today, man, kick your feet up. You know, drink one for me, blaze one for me. Whatever it is you do to get right, get it popping, get it popping. So the Cleveland Browns are currently sitting at number three. They also have two first round picks. The Jets are sitting at number four. They have a whole shitload of picks. They have so many picks they don't know what to do with, yo. Um, then you have the Arizona Cardinals, who now listen to this. Listen to this. You heard this here first. Ain't nobody else gonna say this shit. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. But on the real though, the Arizona Cardinals have two first round picks. They also have a guy named Kyler Murray, who's a former first round pick. Some of y'all might not know, some of you might know. But they have this quarterback in the building that has been benched that could possibly pick up another very high second or possibly a first round pick. There's some teams that don't know who their quarterback is going to be next year. Five, six, seven, eight of them, right? You could see a guy like Kyler Murray possibly jumping over to the Cleveland Browns, maybe to be a battle for that number one spot with Shador Sanders and push Shador to the brink because come on, I mean, what competition has he had over there? Dylan Gabriel, Kenny Pickett, Joe Flacco, right? So, I mean, on the real, like that would be the best thing for the Cleveland Browns to go get a Kyler Murray, to bring him in, to use your first round pick when you have two, to go get your quarterback and say, Shador, if you want this job, which it would suck to have a Kyler Murray in the building, first round pick if you don't win the job, but maybe you just put him out there because Shador have somebody to learn from, right? It's a thought. It's a thought. The Miami Dolphins are more than likely, bless you, going to move on from Tua. If they move on from Tua Tagovailoa, right? Kyler Murray, I think, would be way better quarterback in a McDaniel system, right? I mean, I don't know what the Tyreek situation is, but you have Waddle, you have Aikon, you have a damn good running back, you have a defense that stepped it up big time in the last couple weeks. So I could see a Kyler Murray being traded for a first round pick for one of these teams. The Steelers. Aaron Rodgers isn't going to be here forever, right? He's not going to play football forever. This might be his last hoorah. He might decide, I'm going to play one more year. But the Steelers, when was the last time they had the hell's Cordell Stewart, the hell's his name? The quarterback they used to have before Ben Roethlisberger. Maybe they go that route again, right? It's been a minute. They tried it with Justin Fields, it didn't work. Maybe they decided to go with a pocket passer. That's why they went with Aaron Rodgers this year. That hasn't really worked, right? They've been a run team. They've been a defensive team. So there's a lot of teams out there that could throw Kyler Murray in there. And I know I'm just blabbling, but if they do get another pick, bro, that gives the Arizona Cardinals possibly a chance to have three first round picks in this year's draft if they move on from Kyler Murray. Son of Sammy Davis. Well, shout out to Sammy Davis. Um, Personally, I think the Raiders should get Jack Del Rio back. He was the last winning coach. We're going to get back to that. We're going to get back to that. That's a damn good comment. Uh, so you have the Arizona Cardinals at six. You have the Washington Commanders, who lost again today, who are 4-12 and are sitting at number seven. So right now, the top looks like the Giants and the Las Vegas Raiders, who will play Sunday at Allegiant Stadium, are both sitting at 2-13. There is one, two, three, four teams behind them: Cleveland, the Jets, Tennessee, and Arizona, sitting at 3 and 12. Two of those teams, three of those teams, have two first round picks in this year's draft. They could easily do whatever they want in this draft. They can buy their way to the first pick. They could buy their way to the first and second pick, probably if they wanted to. Um, so that's where they sit. The Washington Commanders are in sole possession of the seventh spot at 4 and 12, and then after that, it's the New Orleans Saints, who have been on a run lately. They've been on a little bit of win streak. Tyler Shuck looks like he might be the guy in the future. So the Saints might not need a quarterback. They might go in a different direction. Not might, more than likely, if they have any brains. They have three damn good quarterbacks that could possibly be that future. Let them battle it out every single year, until you find one, and then move on from the next. But the New Orleans Saints and the Cincinnati Bengals sit at 5 and 10, and then you have the Kansas City Chiefs at 6 and 10, Miami at 6 and 9, Atlanta with no first round pick this year. They traded it to the Rams last year with a quarterback that's going to be sitting on the bench with a torn ACL and reconstructive knee surgery in his second year in the NFL. It's a horrible look for the Atlanta Falcons. Maybe, right? Maybe the Atlanta Falcons are a team that says, "Hey, Arizona, we got Kirk Cousins. He hasn't worked out for us. That's why we moved on and decided to go with Michael Penix in the draft. Well, he's hurt. We got to wait to see how that turns out. What do you want for Kyler Murray? Can we get him for less than a first round? Can we get him for a second and a fourth? Can we get him for a third and a third and a fourth, a third and a fifth? What is the price for Kyler Murray right now? There's a lot of teams that might not take a chance on this man, and he might not be worth a first round, right? And maybe a team like the Atlanta Falcons can save their ass and go get a guy like Kyler Murray, or there's plenty of free agents. I know Jameis Winston said he wants to stay in New York and mentor Jackson Dart, which is huge, man. What a guy, right? What a guy. But yeah, so that's the top half of the draft. That's where we're at. We'll stop at Atlanta at 6 and 9, because there's 3 7 and 8 teams. There's 3 8 and 8 teams. The wild card division. Let's talk about the wild card division. So in the NFC, who do you see in the NFC? I'm a poet and didn't know it. Who do you see in the NFC that can come out of this wild card round? You have 8 and 7, the Carolina Panthers. You have 9 and 6, the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then you have the Green Bay Packers, who obviously clinched tonight with the loss from the Detroit Lions. So you have Minnesota in the hunt still at 8 and 8 with 2 games left. Oh no, that should be wrapped, right? Buffalo, Houston, Philly. I'm confused. I'm sorry, I'm confused. The NFC wild card should not be wrapped. They say Green Bay clinched tonight, right? That's what I heard. Green Bay clinched the playoff berth with the Detroit Lions getting knocked out. But I don't know how that's possible. Because you got Buffalo at 11 and 4. Oh, that Buffalo's not in that shit. That's why. All right, that's just one wild card. Never mind. I got it. 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 So the Rams are 11 and 4. Jacksonville is 11 and 4. San Francisco is 11 and 4. The Chargers are 11 and 4. Buffalo is 11 and 4. Houston at 10 and 5. Philly at 10 and 5. And I guess the Packers won their division at 9 and 5. Nope, that's not right either. That can't be right. Y'all should help me out. But anyways, that's the playoffs to wrap up this week. In case you didn't know, maybe you were family, maybe you didn't get to watch football, maybe you didn't check your phone. But the Dallas Cowboys defeated the Washington Redskins 30-23. The Detroit Lions, man, they just fell apart and got murked by defense. Yes, defense still wins football games. And let me ask you this question: people in the building, 17 people in here. Shout out, rocking with me late night. Um, I guess on the morning after Christmas now. It's 12:08 here, unless you're on the West Coast. But the Minnesota Vikings, man, defense still wins football games. If you're the Las Vegas Raiders and you have that first overall pick and you can trade back and end up with two or three first rounds possibly in this year's draft, do you go all defense? If you skip on a quarterback, do you go all defense in the first, second, third round? Because look, defense wins ball games, right? If you look at the last 24 Super Bowls, knowledge time, get your pen out. The last 24 Super Bowls in the NFL, 18 of those teams have had top five defenses. 18 out of 24. Out of the 24, every single one has had a top 15 defense. The Raiders are sitting at 16th right now in the NFL. If you go get me two first round defensive players, a safety and another edge rusher, a corner and a fast ass linebacker. Oh, sorry, wrong finger. If you go get me that in this year's draft, come on, man. This is a team that could compete. Like they have pieces, and I know everybody's saying that rebuild, blow it all up. But seriously, look at it. Go back and look at last year and look at how they competed at you know, not even the end of the season. The defense missing eight starters throughout the year, three of them out the whole entire season. Still, only got blown out, I think, in two games or three games last year. And they were done early and they just pretty much tagged it in. But this year, we've been shut out twice by both of the Super Bowl teams from last year. That's pathetic, right? So this team needs help on defense. Max Crosby needs help on defense, right? He can't get doubled and triple teamed every time he's on the damn line. He can't get tripped, doubled, and chipped every single time they snap the football unless he runs a stunt. That's the only time he gets away from the double. So if you get more defensive top overall blue chip collar guys, right? If you look at the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns went and got Mason Graham. He doesn't have a sack all year. But guess what? The dude next to him, the greatest defensive end probably to ever walk the face of the earth, soon maybe, in Miles Garrett, right? Has his best year ever because he's got somebody to get pressure up the middle and force that dude to go one way or another, right? The quarterback's got to make a decision. So if you could get that help with Max Crosby, that changes his team around. And then next year, instead of having one quarterback in the first round, you have five if they come out, and possibly maybe even six or seven. Some are saying this could be the most quarterbacks drafted in the first round ever could be next year if they all decide to come out at the same time. Why would you take a chance on one quarterback this year when you have all of those sitting there next year? Makes no sense to me. Um, Back to my guy, son of Sam. He says, personally, I think the Raiders need to go and bring back Jack Del Rio. He was the last winningest coach, right? The Raiders were 12-4 that season. I do believe 12-5. I don't. How many games did we play that year? 17, I think, right? So 12-5. They were 12-11-4 when he got hurt. 12-4 when Derek Carr got hurt. Yeah. I watched a video of Jack Del Rio's interview the other day. Um, I love Jack Del Rio, but I do believe, and not to blast anybody through the mud, but I do believe Jack Del Rio was just in the news sometime a couple months ago for a DUI, right? Do we really want to bring him to Las Vegas? I don't know, right? I mean, anybody can change. You could change your shit around, but I, I don't know. Why is he not back in the NFL? Why is he not in the league? He's one of, you know, he's a damn good coach in the NFL. He can coach a lot of different positions. You think he would get a shot somewhere. So I love Jack Del Rio, and I'm not against it. One, I don't give a shit because shit, we had players like Janikowski drunk kicking field goals in Oakland, right? So I don't care about that. I'm just saying. Um, if you're trying to change the franchise around, you probably want somebody that has his head on his shoulders and and is going in the right direction. I'm just saying. Not saying he's not. Nothing against Jack Del Rio. Um, but if it is all good, maybe after the DUI he quit drinking. I don't know. It's been a couple months, so he looked good to me on the interview. He sounds like the same Jack Del Rio. The Raiders physical, tough. He was all about that. We had a solid staff then, and Mark Davis blew it up. Mark Davis blew it up because he wanted Gruden. And like Jack Del Rio said, you can't blame him for wanting Gruden. That was his guy. That's who he trusted. He was in love with John Gruden. Like has the infatuation with Tom Brady. It's just kind of weird to me. What's my favorite team? The Jets. Big New York Jets fan. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be against bringing back Jack Del Rio. Again, like he said, there was something special happening here, right? They had a core group of defense, offense. They were building something. They had a running game. They had a passing game. They had a young quarterback that was, starting to put it all together. But they made a mistake. They missed the play, or they got to the playoffs, lost because Derek Carr could not go, right? Hurt out for the season. And then they got rid of Bill Musgrave. And I think, that didn't help. That didn't help. And then Gruden was available. So um, the Raiders are known. The Raiders are known for retreads. If you don't know what I mean by retreads, right? They hired Art Shell twice. They've hired John Gruden twice. They've hired who else? I think there's a couple more, right? Twice. I'm missing somebody. Anyways, the Raiders are notorious, you know, for giving somebody else another try. And maybe, bro, maybe Del Rio is that guy. I wouldn't be mad at it. Why do you look like you're wearing a disguise, glasses, and a nose attached? That's messed up, bro. Why you want to talk about my nose? It's mine. It's mine. Raiders. It's late. I can't wake people up. You saying I look like that? That's messed up, bro. It's Christmas. You should have a little bit more love in your heart. Just saying. Um, they never move the Bears. It's one of the oldest teams. Yeah, I mean, yeah, in one of the oldest stadiums too. Do the Raiders circumcise their players? Hopefully their parents circumcise their players. That's just a weird question, bro. Why you want to know about somebody's dick? That's that's just weird. That's just weird. I'm just gonna throw that out there. Yeah, Raiders going back to LA, bro. Raiders got a free stadium. They're not leaving. They are Vegas bound until Vegas is burned to the ground and there's nobody left standing in the city. Everybody is entertaining and interesting to somebody. Nick's battle. Appreciate it. Are you saying I'm interesting, entertaining, or neither one? And you're gonna go find somebody that is. I don't know. But shout out for the kind words. I believe. I don't know. Haha, Steelers haven't made the playoffs since 9 years ago. Well, old Rooney over there. He's got his hand in the draft, and I don't know, Mike Tomlin, bro. You've been 18 years. 18 years. you haven't had a losing record. You've been the coach of the same team. Sometimes it's maybe the grass is greener on the other side. maybe maybe it just it maybe they water it more over there. Maybe they mow it more. The more you mow your grass, the faster it grows. Just like your beard, right? The more you shave, the more hair grows back. So maybe the grass is greener somewhere else. Maybe Tomlin needs to step out of the shadows, and you wouldn't think he would be in a shadow. But when you coach for a team that's had three coaches in the history of their franchise, and the last one before him was Bill Cowher, is that those are big shoes to fill, right? Bill did a lot of great things with that franchise, and then you know left it in a pretty damn good spot, and he's done a damn good job with it too. But bro, I don't know if it hasn't been 9 years since they made the playoffs. Maybe since they won a playoff, but it ain't been 9 years since they've been there, has it? For real? Don't lie to me. Don't lie to me, bro. Vegas will dump the Raiders. Bro, Vegas ain't dumping nobody. Look, Vegas will never dump the Raiders because even if the Raiders aren't winning, the other fan bases still come there and they put money into casinos and they put money into buying shit all over Vegas, and they put money into gambling, and they put money into food, and they put money into a hotel, and those hotel taxes pay for that stadium. So it's a win-win situation for Mark Davis and the city of Las Vegas and the state of Nevada as a whole. So they're not going anywhere, bro. They're not going anywhere. Gruden is a racist sociopath, and he is blackballed in the league for a good reason. He's actually winning his cases, and whether the man's a racist, whether maybe somebody drank too much and got a little tipsy and was trying to be funny and make jokes, and then somebody took it offensive. It's the society we live in. But I'm not judging the man, bro. He's coached I don't know how many different hundreds of different players of probably all different races. So I mean, I don't know. I don't see the man racist, but it is what it is. Who am I to judge? Who are you to judge? What about DK? DK is dude is that's the stupidest shit I ever seen, bro. It's just dumb. It makes no sense. You, you're losing more money than most people will make in their lifetime. Their children will make, and their children will make, and their children will make in their lifetime. In their lifetime, you are losing this money in 1 year because you can't control your anger. That's soft, bro. That's soft. So for all these dudes, that go out there and get hit and hit back on the football field, but if you can't take people calling you names or talking shit, then you shouldn't be in that limelight, right? That's not a position for you. So for one, it was stupid as hell. For two, it just looks bad on the NFL. It looks bad for the fans in there, constantly heckling players. Don't know why he was heckling them or what the reason was, but it looks bad on the Steelers. It looks bad on the NFL. But it really looks bad on the players when you got to put your hands on somebody. That's it's just nonsense. But the fact that it cost you your signing bonus for 2 years is for what 42 million or $49 million it cost you. Not to mention that I know these dudes. I think if you read the back of your ticket, right, it has all the rules and shit on there. So I don't know if the dude can actually sue DK Metcalf. There wasn't no harm, there wasn't no bodily damage. Maybe, it ruined his psyche being on TV. And I mean, you could probably sue for that nowadays, right? He hurt my feelers. Um, but yeah, DK was just one of the dumbest things I ever seen. It's just nonsense. Football is crazy this year. Yeah, there's been some wild shit, man. How about the Hawaii game? Did you see the Hawaii Cal game? Did you see afterwards the dude come running over there and just bah, just lit dude up. I don't know if he was looking. I don't know if he was said something to him during the game, but he didn't even have pads on. It looked like he was a trainer or some shit, uh, or maybe a player that was hurt. But boy got rocked. Flew over something. Dude was on top of him. Right. The whole benches, but it was like the whole team of Cal was over there. So crazy, crazy ass football, crazy ass people. You know, you can take the boy out of the hood, but you can't take the hood out of the boy sometimes. It's just how it works. Just how it works. I've been stuck with that my whole life. My whole life. My Packers got busted up. R.I.P. Micah Parsons' knee. Yeah, man. Y'all just wrap up a playoff game with no Micah. It's gonna be rough. It's gonna be rough. They're gonna have to, they might have to go get a free agent or some shit. I don't know. Candy Angel in the building. What are you deleting? Shout out to you. Losing Metcalf's gonna hurt. I don't know. I mean, the Steelers have just been running the ball anyways. And if you look at Metcalf's numbers, they're down like they were in Seattle last year with Geno Smith. Maybe Geno wasn't all of the problem. I'm just kidding. In Seattle, right? Because his numbers were down. Metcalf's numbers have declined the last 3 years drastically. Now, if you put him on a team, where he's not the number one focus, uh, with a quarterback that's younger than 45, I think it might help a little bit. But yeah, I think DK's done. I don't know how many teams are even gonna mess with that, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Steelers just null and void his whole entire contract at the end of the season and be like, man, we ain't paying you, we ain't paying you. Something the Raiders should have did when Geno Smith was walking around calling people, punk ass bitches walking off the field and flipping them off. Maybe the Raiders should have did that and got some of their money back. It must be hard being a Raiders fan. They have a team capable of winning, but lose every time it counts. Shout out to the hurtful comments, Savior. Fucking football fan in the building. What's good? John Seven says, I don't think he's racist. Other racists think Gruden is racist. I don't know. I think it's a pretty racist statement when you're talking about somebody's lips, joking or not joking. It's pretty messed up when you're talking about somebody choosing to be gay or not be gay when he's on your team, right? I mean, some of those statements are shit you can't take back, right? You could always say something out of anger, but man, some of those you just can't take back. Take a blinker. T-Tail Savage, what's good, man? I don't have one. I don't have one with me. All I got is the Puffco. Jags beat the Raiders. I mean, I'm glad you brought that up because we brought this up last night, right? The Jags did beat the Raiders. But out of the AFC West, name me a team that played the Jacksonville Jaguars better than my Las Vegas Raiders. I'll wait. I'll wait. Wow, wait. We'll read these next comments. Two-time Pro Bowler for DK and one All Pro. Yeah, but I mean, he should have spent a All Pro day in jail for smacking somebody in the mouth. Dude should have pressed charges. He is a dog, you know. Jags beat the Raiders. I think you said that already. I think you said that already. This is theirs. Is Christmas over? Can I take this damn hat off? I'm sweating. I don't know what my hat is. I'll just leave it on. Hell. Furpo. Money, money, money. Yeah, send me some. Send me some. Dustin's driving. Go Birds. Why are you driving, bro? Where are you driving to? What kind of bird? The Atlanta bird? The eagle bird? What kind of bird? The dodo bird? What kind of birds are we talking about? Greatest receiver is P. Diddy. That's some funny shit, bro. I'm not gonna lie. That was classic. That was classic. Shout out to my guy coming here, make somebody laugh. That's funny shit. That was funny shit, bro. And if none of y'all are laughing, then that's y'all got some fucked up sense of humor. You're just gonna ignore DK Metcalf? No, you can't just ignore DK. But he ain't playing, so he's gonna be ignored anyway. He's gonna be ignored for the what he get suspended 1 game or 2. Merry Christmas, Raider Nation, Raiders purple in the building. Merry Christmas to you and yours. Hope you had a great Christmas. Appreciate it. Yeah, I was alive. I got to breathe through another one, so you can't get much better than that. Grandbaby came over. I was with my kids, so yeah, you can't take those. You don't get many of those days. So I hope everybody else. I hope you and your family had a great Christmas. Happy holidays. Aaron Rodgers and DK Metcalf is a dangerous duo. I mean, they are a dangerous duo, but you got to admit DK has lost a step. You got to admit his drop balls have went up. Not that his balls have dropped and then went up, but his drop passes. Uh, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Touch grass, touch grade, touch what? I feel bad for Raiders, bro. You ain't gotta feel bad for us. We don't need your pity party, bro. We don't need your pity party. We need help in ownership. We need the general manager to be given the authority to say this is my team and I'm taking control. This is what's gonna happen, and if it fails, put it all on me. Not a quarterback to say take put it all on me, right? But don't feel bad for us, bro. We'll be back. We'll be back. I'll be feeling bad for everybody we play one of these years. I've been saying it for the last 40 years. It's got to come into tuition, right? They say if you just manifest shit and you just repeat it over and over again, right, before you go to bed, before you wake up. I mean, damn, the Raiders should have won like 500 Super Bowls right now. So I guess my manifestation doesn't quite work. Cowboys winning the Super Bowl next year for show? For show for show? Like for show? I don't know, bro. I don't know. I just don't see Dak Prescott as that guy when it comes to the clutch, right? Like the only thing I see Dak Prescott clutching up is his ass cheeks when the game is on the line. Butt gets puckered tight, too tense, can't run, can't throw the ball. Um, I don't see the Dallas Cowboys doing shit with Dak, right? No matter how good their team is. It's just and with Jerry Jones in the building, man, I like Schottenheimer. I think he's gonna, be a damn good coach. But when you have Jerry Jones over your shoulder, it's hard to change anything or do anything when he's making all the decisions. So I just don't see the Cowboys being anything just like the Raiders, right? They might have a better record every year than the Raiders, but they have 10 times, 100 times more talent, right? Way more talent, uh, way more, way more guys making over $5 million. I think the Raiders only have 2 players on their roster making over $20 million or making over $15 million a season. That's pathetic, right? So the Cowboys, I just don't see them winning shit for a minute. Now he cooked the whole secondary on the Ravens. But that's the Ravens second. I guess they're all right. But that's the Ravens second. I'm not saying DK is washed. I'm not saying he's done. I'm just saying that shit was stupid and it might cost him. It might cost him a little bit. Tim Brown, 9 straight seasons, 1,000 yards. Yeah, with who throwing them the ball, right? That's what I'm saying. Am I that far behind in the chat? Holy shit. Raiders winning. Okay, I got to answer these way shorter. I hope you'll get to the playoffs next year. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. I hope we get to the playoffs next year and every year. Next year would be, something astronomical would have to happen. We'd have to hit on all 11 players in this draft or trade back and end up with 20 players and, hit on every single one of those. Then then maybe, but we have to get the coaches right. We have to figure out if we're just going to keep retreading um, Patrick Graham, the guy that I think they should be moving up in the building, and Luke Steckel. I really, the more I look at Luke Steckel's career and the teams he's been on and what they did at the positions he was coaching, what he's done with Brock Bowers, what he's done with the tight ends in the Raiders building. I like Luke Steckel, but what are we gonna do with him? Are they gonna move on from him when they go? If they go, when they go, if they go, get a new coach, right? Are they gonna move on from Graham? Like I said, are they gonna move on uh from Robbie Leonard? What's up with Robbie Leonard, bro? We're gonna have to have a Robbie Leonard talk very, very soon. This man was given a bigger job, right? His role was just defensive line coach for the last 2 or 3 years with the Las Vegas Raiders. Now this year, in his fourth year with the Raiders, they give him defensive line coach and run game coordinator. And our run game defense started out very, very nice at the beginning of the season. We were holding teams to no yards in the first half or the second half of a lot of games. Now all of a sudden we giving up 150, 175, 240. Like shit, we getting run down like it's a damn like we're dirt at the damn track races, at the horse races, right? Just getting ran all over, just stomping us to death. So man, Robbie Leonard, like that what do we do with him, right? Do we promote him? Do you get rid of Patrick Graham and promote Robbie Leonard, a guy that's been struggling with two tasks to do this year instead of one? Do you promote this guy in the building? Do you get rid of him and ruin the chemistry that he has with Max Crosby, with whoever they decide to keep around, right? Jonah Laulu, Malcolm Kuntz, right? You could probably re-sign him at a cheap deal because you gave him 12 million for nothing. So the Raiders have a lot of questions, and mainly they start with the coach, right? Who are we gonna bring in, and are they gonna continue to just come in and say, all right, we're hiring you, but this guy stays, this guy stays, this guy stays, this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy, and you can bring in three, you can bring in three assistants, and we're gonna turn this thing around. It's never gonna work like that. Never gonna work like that. So I appreciate you, Austin. I hope we make the playoffs next year too. But like I said, that's gonna be a damn good miracle. You're probably gonna be good against the Browns. We lost to the Browns. We lost to the Browns, bro. What do you mean? We already got beat by them, and pretty good too. They beat us by more than they beat us by 10. Y'all going to lose Crosby too? Man, don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. Don't you put that evil on me. Nah, I wouldn't be mad if we lost Max, really. I'm gonna tell you why. I feel like I've been noticing lately, right? All season long. The minute they hired Pete Carroll and he said we're trading for Gino and a third round pick, I said we got an if quarterback. If everything is right and great and perfect this season, the Raiders are gonna win a lot of games. And I made a stupid suggestion and our prediction, and it was way the hell off, way the hell off. But I'm okay. I'll eat that. But I also said it was going to go really, really, really bad because of the favoritism in the building and the love between Pete Carroll and Geno Smith. They have a bond. I don't know what is going on there. I don't know if he's got some dirt, some papers on him, I don't know if he's got some shit on his phone. Pete Carroll had did one time at a party after the Super Bowl run. I don't know, bro. I don't know what it is between Geno and Pete. But Pete Carroll will not go away from Geno Smith. And I knew that coming in. I was like, there's no way he'll ever bench this man, no matter how shitty he is. He made it last year, throwing 21 touchdowns to 14 interceptions, right? He's close to those numbers now. He's got 18 touchdowns and 14 or 15 interceptions already. I knew it was going to be somewhere around there. And I knew that Pete Carroll was not going to have the heart because he coaches with his heart instead of coaching for what's best for the franchise, what's best for the team at the moment, and what's best for the future of the team. He's coaching for the love of the players, of what happened in the past. And he's trying to replicate that past with Geno Smith, with a bunch of long, defensive backs that you're just going to go out there and play and let them play through it. Well, they don't have the talent that you had in Seattle. This is not the Legion of Boom, right? So I believe, I believe deeply, 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 deeply. Who's the greatest scorer? How did I miss that? Um, that I've been missing the fact that there's the same favoritism in the building for Max Crosby. Not that he needs it, but the fact that, and yes, he earns it. Also, I'm not. I'm not. People are going to take this different. Um, But there's that same favoritism for Max Crosby in the building, right? He's always talked about as the greatest player on the Raiders, the face of the franchise. But if you look at the numbers, man, Devin White, he's about to break the all time Raiders tackle list. All time in a season. He already did. But he's about to break the all time in the NFL. That is a crazy stat. Getting no credit. The dude's not even making $2 million, bro. He's making $1.75 million. He has 120 more sacks. I mean, 120 more tackles than Max Crosby this year. Now I know Max Crosby's got 24 or whatever he has tackles for loss, and he's first in the NFL. But there's also um, five defensive ends that are right behind him that have more sacks, that have um, that have more tackles, right? So if the number is right, if you're telling me, I got two first rounds and I want Max Crosby, I don't think it would hurt this franchise as much as some people that are in love with Max Crosby, think it would, right? We've seen teams trade away their star players and, and pick it up like that, where a lot of people thought, damn, this team's gonna, it's gonna take 3 4 years for this team to get back to where they were, just losing that one player, and instead, it's the opposite. They take off, so it could happen, and Max deserves to be on a winning team, right? He plays 100% of the snaps. He's the first one in the building. He's the last one to leave. He's great in the community. Um, you deserve, right? You deserve to have somebody next to you that's going to take the pressure off you. That's not going to allow you to get double teamed, triple teamed over and over and over again. And for that reason, I wouldn't be mad. But I also feel like there's a bunch of players in the building, and you can't tell me that if you're making less than $5 million and you're on the field less time than your leader, and your numbers are pretty damn close, right? And nobody on the team's numbers are pretty damn close when it comes to tackles for loss, but everywhere else, and sacks, right? Nobody's close to that. But you can't tell me that. You can't tell me that there's not some animosity in that building all the time when you got a dude that's yelling at people on the sidelines when he does the same thing. I see this man miss his gap integrity all the time. I see him, not set the edge and run a stunt when it's not called, and people are looking at him after the play going, bro, why the fuck did you go inside when they just ran outside for 80 yards down the field, right? So, um, you know, we could lose Crosby. He could be fed up, right? I know he says he wants to be a Raider and he wants to be here for life, and I think the man's legit, right? I don't think he wants to go anywhere. But it's the NFL, man. It's the NFL. If there's a team that thinks if we just get Max Crosby, we're a Super Bowl contender until he's done playing, is he worth two? Is he worth three first rounds? Is he worth, 2 first rounds in a player? I believe there's some teams that would be willing to to throw, maybe a Michael Parsons type deal, or maybe even better. You never know. As a Bears fan, feel bad for the Raiders. Yeah, I feel bad for the Raiders. I feel bad for the fans. I feel bad for the team that gets told, every single year, we're bringing in a new head coach and this is about to change. We're about to change this shit right now. Gear up because we're gonna win a lot of games. What's up? What's up, Maria? That Geno Grinch goes crazy. um, But yeah, let's talk about that, man. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the title. I'm already an hour and a half in, and I haven't even brought it up. Just rambling with all my peeps in the building. Appreciate y'all. Geno Smith, man. Geno Smith, the Grinch that stole our season, right? With 15 interceptions to 18 touchdowns. A season that has not gone well for a man that has paid 32, $33 million, 66.5 guaranteed, signed to a 3-year extension, $71 million. And this is the thanks we get. Now has, for some crazy, mind blowing, unfathomable reason that I cannot seem to contemplate in this little brain of mine, still has in this hand right here the future of the Las Vegas Raiders, right? He can go out there and play one of the greatest games he's ever played in his life, or at least try to. And he has every right to do that. This fan base has treated him like shit. Dave, he said he was all in Vegas, and we were like, no, no, Geno, no, Geno, right? But the man has the Las Vegas Raiders' future in the palm of his hand. The future of a fan base, like I said, that have treated him like shit, that have booed him, that have heckled him, that have called him names, that have, made him look bad in front of his family, in front of his friends, all over the internet, all over the lives. Me too. I'm guilty of it, and shit, I'm gonna keep doing it because you suck and you shouldn't be on my team. However, on the nicer part, it's Christmas. I'll be a little nicer. You know, Gino, the dude I'm talking shit about right now, holds the future for the Las Vegas Raiders in his hand. He can go out there and struggle and throw interceptions, throw picks, pick sixes, and help this team like he's done all year for the money that he's got. Or he can go out there and say to Raider Nation, to the fan base, to the organization, to the coach that brought him in, Pete Carroll. He's already been in the media. There's already been talks and reports. Geno Smith does not want to be here. Now, I know he was asked in his press conference, do you want to be in Vegas? He said, I plan on winning many games here. There are reports, the little birdie in my ear, and reports that have been all over the internet have said Geno Smith and members of his family have been talking to people that know other people, and loose lips sink ships, saying that Geno Smith does not want to be a Raider. He does not want to play for this fan base. Has the opportunity to go out there and show the NFL, look, I can still play as long as they protect me, which the offensive line did last week. As long as I have a running game, which the Las Vegas Raiders had last week. As long as I have a defense that can get me the ball back and give me an opportunity, even though I make, stupid decisions and bad throws. As long as I have that, this is what I can do for another team. And I don't feel like Geno Smith, for as bad as he's been for the Raiders in this organization this year, should be the guy to be the starting quarterback, to go out there and put on film, possibly, a great game against the New York Giants team that's not trying to win, right? They've already said they want the number one pick. Everybody knows that. And I don't think just Geno deserves the right to go out there and display his talent, on a team that the offensive line is getting better, that could possibly make him look good, right? Receivers like Jack Best. Yeah, I know there's no Brock Bowers, but we still have talent on the receiving core. We still have Ashton Genty you could pass to out of the backfield that's going to go crazy against this, against this Bears against this Bears defense, right? And speaking of this Bears defense, a defense that is 32nd in the NFL when rushing to the outside, right? On the outside of the tackles, when you run outside of the numbers, this Giants team is 32nd in the NFL. They are also 32nd in the NFL in tackling outside of the numbers. I mean, outside of the tackles. They are also 32nd in the NFL in yards after the catch outside of the numbers. So when you bring Ashton Jeanty, a dude that just had an explosive game and ran for over 120 yards, most of it outside of the tackles, right? That's a recipe for disaster. Recipe for disaster. And Gino having that in his back pocket can go out there, like I said, knowing that everybody in the Raider Nation is all they've talked about is winning for Fernando Mendoza, a quarterback that's going to come in and replace Geno Smith. Do you really tell me that this man is going to go out there and not play the best he's played in his life to try to rub it in his fan base? I really feel he is, right? And I don't feel like he should be given that opportunity. I don't feel like Pete Carroll should be given the opportunity to put him in that spot when we have Aiden O'Connell, when we have Cam Miller, when we have no idea who our quarterback is going to be of the future. We've seen Geno all year long. We've won 2 games this year. There's no reason your starting quarterback should be out there playing for the future or given that opportunity when he's flipped off the fan base, when he's called people punk ass bitches, when he's had people of Raider Nation that is known all throughout, the YouTube community kicked out of games or tried to kick out of games, shouldn't be in that position to hold the Las Vegas Raiders' future in his hands the last 2 games of the season. That's what I think about that. Y'all will never get a chip. We got 3, bro. Come on. I love the Raiders. Raiders, man. If you love the Raiders, double tap the screen, like, subscribe, follow. Christmas Day. I know it has passed, but I started this channel 2 years ago on Christmas Day, or two days before Christmas, maybe a couple days before Christmas, when the Las Vegas Raiders went in with Aiden O'Connell to Kansas City and beat them on Christmas Day. Is when I started my YouTube channel. I thought it would take off a little bit more and be a little farther ahead, but mainly part of that is my fault. So it's kind of like an anniversary. I think my 2-year anniversary was like a week ago. So appreciate everybody that comes in, pops in. If you bleed silver and black, if you're a diehard Raider fan, if you want to become a smarter Raider fan by knowing everything that happens day in and day out in Raider Nation, then shit, hit the subscribe button. Raiders will never get a chip. Raiders will never get a chip. Raiders will never get a chip. The Raiders just had a chip, and we fired his ass, bro. So, tell me we won't get a chip. We just had one this year. What you mean? What you mean? Are you a Raider fan? No, I'm a Raider elf, and I work for the Raiders organization. I'm bringing Christmas cheer to Raider Nation in a 2-13 season. Raiders dropped a bag. And swing for Javon Clowney at the beginning of the season. Oh, Raiders dropped the bag on not swinging for. I mean, bro, spot on, spot on. You knew that. I knew that. I talked about it on this channel many, many times. There were some other people, that talked about it. I do believe and mentioned. I seen, some mentions here and there on X. If you ain't following me on X, it's Raiders Unleashed. Raiders Rebel _ on X. Follow me on X. Always putting out content and dropping knowledge there too. But yeah, Javon Clowney was a stupid mistake, man. The Raiders could have got him on the cheap, right? Didn't even have to break out the pocketbook and stretch it or nothing. Like, that's chump change to Mark Davis. But Raiders are trash can juice. Damn, bro. Well, how do you know what trash can juice tastes like? That's some nasty shit. You can't name 4. I can't name 4 what? Let's go Eagles. What can I name 4 of? Speaking of can't name, let's talk about Ashton Jeanty. I've been We're coming up on 2 hours. We dropped this knowledge for y'all. Does anybody in the building, um, right? Little knowledge. Now, you can cheat yourself and Google it, right? If you're a Raider fan. If you're not a Raider fan, then, give it a couple minutes before you give the question out. If you're going to Google it, let the Raider fans, see how much knowledge they have. I don't know how many Raider fans are in here. But if you're a Raider fan, test your knowledge without Googling. Ashton Genty is one of only 5 Raiders in history to have over 1,000 yards from scrimmage their rookie season. Think about that. Think about that. One of only 5, right? There's been a lot of mention of Ashton Genty could possibly be a bust because, you know, he gets tackled or has 5 people in his face as soon as he touches the ball behind the line of scrimmage and still managed to pick us up 500 yards through the season. But there's been a lot of tackle that, oh, Ashton Genty was the wrong pick. We should have got Tedero McMillan. We should have got, who the hell was the tackle that everybody wanted? Anyways, right? There's been a lot of talk that Ashton Genty, you don't draft running backs at 6. The Raiders, drafted him too early. By the time we're ready to use him to his strengths, he's going to be up for his contract, all that shit. But let me ask you this, right? The question is, who are those 5 players? Ashton Genty is one of only 5 players in the history of the Raiders to have 1,000 yards from scrimmage in his rookie season. Who are the other 5? Or the other 4? Because he's one. So he's one. Who are the other 4? There's one of 5. Who are the other 4? Go ahead. Also on some notes, right? Jackson Dart, 407 rushing yards this year. He is 5th among quarterbacks. And he also has an 89.6 QBR. Best among rookie quarterbacks. He also has 7 rushing touchdowns. Ashton Genty has 10 complete touchdowns. Ashton Genty only has 5 rushing touchdowns. He was drafted 6th overall. The Giants running back has 7 rushing touchdowns. So contemplate that. If you think that these Giants are just going to come and lay down, right? Jackson Dart don't care about that pick, right? Jackson Dart's going to come in to win. And this is a kid that is explosive. The Raiders can't tackle. If Jackson Dart, who said he went and talked to the coaching staff, right? Because since there's been a new coach, he hasn't been able to run as much. That's going to slow him down. But Jackson Dart, just a little tidbit. 407 yards rushing, 89.6 QBR, best among rookie quarterbacks with 7 rushing touchdowns, which is crazy. Things every Raider. I think I already did that one. But yeah, answer me that question. Let me know if y'all know who the other 4 Raiders are to have over 1,000 yards from scrimmage. Hello from Iowa. Longtime Bengals fan. Shout out to the Bengals. The only time I ever rooted for the Bengals was back in the day when they had Icky Woods, right? Because I think he was a UNLV guy, Icky Woods. But yeah, they did the Icky Shuffle in the Super Bowl. That's the only time that I ever rooted for the Bengals. And then I really don't like the Bengals because they made it to a Super Bowl that the Raiders should have had in 2021. But Jermaine Pratt, who is no longer with the team, was on the Raiders, is no longer with the team, is now a Colt. Had an interception and ended our damn run. Not saying that we could have made the Super Bowl that year, but we had y'all on the ropes. We should have won that game. So, shout out to the Bengals, but I'm still bitter. I'm just saying. NFL team good this year. What's that mean? Let's go Eagles. Raiders not winning a chip in our lifetime. Well, my friend, I seen them win 1. I've been alive for 2. and I'm hoping to be alive for at least one or five more. So, just saying. Respect to any fan rocking gear when their team isn't great this season. I'm a Redskins fan. Shout out to the Redskins, man. Yeah, that's you had a rough year. You had a rough year. Let me ask you this, Redskins fan: do you feel like the Redskins uh, sitting at four, whatever they're at, 4-12, 4-10, whatever the hell they're at? Do you feel like maybe, maybe they're worried about JD5 and they go and get a quarterback or move up to get a quarterback this year and try to trade, you know, try to trade JD5? I don't know because that injuries is not looking good, man. And if you follow this channel, I told you you'd be a smarter Raider fan. I said before the draft, I would not take Jaden Daniels one or two, and I'd be scared taking him in the top, in the top 15 or the top 20 because he's 200 pounds soaking wet, right? And we see the injuries are already taking a toll. Fernando Mendoza is 6'5", but he is 215 or 220 pounds soaking wet, right? That's that's skinny for a quarterback that tall. So man, you got to watch these young skinny quarterbacks. They need to get in a weight room. But shout out to the Redskins, the Commanders. My bad, my bad. Let's go Birds. Here we go with the Birds again. What kind of Birds fan are you? You ain't telling me yet. You like a Falcon, an Eagle, a Raven? How many birds are there? Isn't there another one? I don't know. Can we go back to Seattle Seahawks against Seattle? Who won that one? Wait, what are you talking about? Are you talking about the Raiders in the preseason? Come on. What we talk, uh, as a Bears fan, I hope we win the first round playoff. Man, as a Raiders fan, I shouldn't be hoping y'all win shit the way Ben Johnson did us, but he didn't really do us no way. He already wanted to be the Bears coach. It was very kind of him to accept Tom Brady's proposal to come in and take an interview, and I kind of hope he does too, man. I kind of hope he does win the playoffs in his first year, just to show Tom Brady, Mark Davis, and this ownership that if you really want something, you got to pull the trigger, man. You got to pull the trigger, right? And I heard, the rumor is they offered him 15. The dude went and took the job in Chicago for 13. So, but he had, longer years. So, shout out to the Bears, man. They got it. I didn't think Ben Johnson. If you go back and watch any of my videos talking about Ben Johnson, if he's on the cover, I talked a lot of shit. I was like, bro, he's a good coach, but he's never coached before. It's going to take him time. It's going to take time to turn that team around. I was wrong. He went and got a staff. He went and got an experienced staff that have helped him, that have helped his team. And the Bears, they look like they're for real. If Caleb could just be consistent, that team is nasty. The Donkeys, man. Them Broncos look good, bro. Them Broncos look good. The beginning of the season, I did my prediction for the AFC West. I had the Broncos winning the division. I had the Chargers number 2. I had the Chiefs number 3, and I had the Raiders fourth, unless their if quarterback was better than the ifs. then I had us tied for first. But yeah, the Broncos are scary, man. They got one of the best defensive coaches in the NFL right now, I think, in Vance Joseph. But they also have a couple guys that a lot of people are sleeping on. They have, ow, shit. We'll talk about that tomorrow. We'll get into coaches tomorrow. Pull up to tomorrow's show. We'll talk about coaches. But man, the Broncos got some coaches that I would like to pair with some other coaches if Pete Carroll is out of the building and make this a damn playoff team really, really quick. I'm telling you, Jerry Jones going to get Crosby. Yeah, it would make sense, bro. It would make sense. Crosby had one of his best games of the season. Not best games of the season, but he was out there showing out in Houston, right? From the Texas area. But I don't know. He had his chance, bro. I think Crosby's loyal. He's loyal to the core, and he's a psychopath like myself, bro. He's just a glutton for punishment. You just can't get away from this, right? Can't get away. Get away. Get away. Get away. With the belt to the Steelers, Cowboys fans didn't win. I gotta go through these faster. Gary the Bears, Raiders suck. Who's your all-time? Who's the greatest Raider quarterback of all time? Derek Carr. Cowboys fans, I hope Jerry Jones will live forever because y'all suck. That's funny shit. That's some messed up shit, but it's funny as hell. If the Seahawks and Steelers play right now, who do you think win? That's a good question, man. That's a good question. The Steelers got two running backs up there, trying to get 100 yards a game over here, trying to break records in the NFL. They still have Aaron Rodgers that, he can put the ball where he needs to. That defense, they're a little iffy. Seattle got Sam Darnold. They got, you know, Jackson Smith and Jigba, which is unguardable. I'm gonna have to go Seattle. I'm gonna have to go Seattle. I think, with Nick Eamon over there, the guy I wanted for the Raiders this year in the draft. If we would have traded back and got my guy Nick Eamon, I think this defense would be a lot more solidified than the ups and downs roller coaster we've been on this year. So I'm gonna have to say the Seahawks right now. I think the Seahawks beat the Steelers. NFC, who do you think is getting to the Super Bowl? The NFC, I'm gonna say I'm gonna say the Rams are a very uh the Rams have a very, very high percentage. If it was my percentage and I was doing it, I would say probably about 82%, 83%. That's a high percentage in the playoffs to make the Super Bowl. I like the Rams, right? I think they got one of the best coaches. Um, their passing game coordinator on offense is special. You know, Chris Shula is special on defense. Comes from that Shula tree. One of the greatest coaches to ever coach in Miami. Some say maybe one of the greatest coaches ever to coach in football. The the Rams are tough. The Rams are going to be tough. But then you got to look at, um, you know, I would say the Packers would be tough, but losing Parker, Micah Parsons, then you don't know what's up with Jordan Love, Josh Jacobs, up and down. I don't really think they're a threat. I think the Houston Texans, the way their defense has been playing, except for in the Raider game, right? I think they could be sneaky good, but C.J. Stroud against the Raiders looked very inconsistent. Um, I don't know. The NFC's tough. The NFC's tough. I think Seattle looks good, but they just beat the Rams. The Rams beat them. They've been back and forth. I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure. The 49ers, damn, I'm forgetting the 49ers, right? The 49ers have, I mean, they got they got one of the best running backs. They got, Jennings over there. They got a solid receiving core. They got a solid offensive line, and they got Robert Sala, right? Has the 49ers defense just flying around making plays. I don't know. The NFC, look, the Super Bowl and the playoffs are wide open this year. I can't remember in 50 years of my life watching the NFL and watching the playoffs how many teams, have only lost 4 or 5 games, right? How many teams have had so many win streaks and then lost a game or two and then went on another win streak, right? So there's a lot of teams that have a lot of momentum that are picking up steam every single game going into the playoffs, and it's kind of hard to it's kind of hard to say what's going to happen. I think in the AFC or the NFC because we've seen the Bears come in and beat teams right that we didn't think they were going to win right and dominate some teams. We've seen you know damn, even Minnesota, they ain't making the playoffs, but we've seen teams like that with defenses come in and just shut teams down. And we've seen the same thing in the AFC, right? We've seen the Broncos play the Raiders twice, score 10 points in one game, 13 in the other. And then they go out and play, a team like the Kansas City Chiefs that have a way better defense and they put up, 20, 25, 25, 30 points. So football is crazy. They wanted the NFL's been trying and trying and trying for a long, long time you know, to make it kind of even. And I think they're getting closer. I mean, you're always gonna have those teams. What the hell? All right, I'll get to it. Sorry, I'm way behind in the chat. Steelers will choke. Bro called horrible games with the Raiders. Who? Who called horrible games with the Raiders? A lot of people call horrible games with the Raiders. Tom was in like one playoff win. Yeah, he hasn't won in a long time, but he's been there, bro. He's been there. Duval. Yeah, that team. Man, I forgot about the AFC. I forgot about Jacksonville. I think Jacksonville right now is one of the scariest teams in the NFL, right? I think Trevor Lawrence has found a new life. I mean, he's using his feet, he's using his mind, he's using his arm, he's using his cadence at the line of scrimmage to get people to jump off, to gain plays. Um, Trevor Lawrence is clicking right now, and a clicking quarterback going into the playoffs is dangerous. And Trevor Lawrence is that dude right now. They blew a 21-year-old lead against the Bills. Rodgers still better than 20 starting quarterbacks. 20? Would you say 20? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, when he's protected, yeah. But being blitzed, no, no. But that would be a good video. Remind me of that, Geomex. Send me a message. Remind me of that. That'd be a good ass video. Is Aaron Rodgers still a top 20 quarterback in the NFL at 42 years old? Jesus help the Raider Tony. What? Well, he said, please help the Raiders. Bears legit too. Golly, how far is this? Hold on. Oh God, that is so. Holy shit! I'm never getting through this chat, bro. Fuck my life. All right. I'm gonna go backwards. I seen some shit. Raiders Unleashed with the 4.99 holler. I'm sorry I missed all these, man. I appreciate y'all. Merry Christmas, Rebel. I'm not sure if you're seeing any of my super pets. Any of your super pets? What does that mean? Merry Christmas, Rebel. I'm not sure if you're seeing any of my super chats. Appreciate you with the Merry Christmas gift, man. Appreciate you always keeping the lights on in the building. Trey Boley with the 199. Josh Allen is the best quarterback in the league. I appreciate you with the $2 holla, my guy. And I wouldn't disagree. I think there's Joe Burrow that's up there. Patty Mahomes when he's healthy. But right now you have to look at Matthew Stafford's old ass. Um, there's the top ten list in the NFL of quarterbacks right now is wild to me. It's wild to me. Holy shit, there's a lot of people. Yo, shout out to everybody that's come through, that's come in. I appreciate y'all. If I missed your comments, man, I'm trying. But if you ask me football shit, I'm just gonna flap my gums forever. I talk all day. Um, Unleashed Raider again with the $2 holla. Happy anniversary. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. That means the world to me. Yeah, I jumped on this YouTube shit right before the when AP, when AP took over for the Raiders. I was on board, right? I was on board. I was like, man, AP's the guy. We gonna turn this shit around. Aiden O'Connell's gonna get to play. It's gonna be good shit. And then everything went sour. But I did start this YouTube channel, and it was just supposed to be part time. But I fell in love with this shit, man. I fell in love with being able to talk football, with smart minded, football fans, whether they're Raider fans, Lions fans, Donkey fans, Queef fans, Lightning Bug fans, right? It doesn't matter. Steeler fans. I love all football fans. Good Lord. Unleashed Raiders. Shout out with the Raiders with the 199 $2 holla special. I appreciate you. But yeah, man, I felt again too. Merry Christmas. Damn, are there any more? I don't want to miss anybody. GMX says, "Fuck the Steelers." That's not nice. Bro, you have a 54-year-old, 55-year-old quarterback. Who got a 55-year-old quarterback? You don't know about you saying the Steelers will make it back to the Super Bowl. Who said that? I didn't say that. Steelers fans are talking about. Steelers fans are talking about the host rebel. What? I don't know. I'm so far behind in this chat, and now I lost my point. Going back and reading that shit from getting a million texts. Shout out to everybody in the building. Run the line, bet one more week, and double that bet. Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good to me. Okay, Duval, that's where we're. Hello from Vegas. I'm up big time on bets. What's good, my guy? Eddie 35. Drop some knowledge, bro. You know, you could private message me on here. You could private not on here, but you could private message me on X, Raiders Rebel underscore, on Instagram, Raiders Rebel, or Raiders Rebel underscore. Either one. I don't know. But share the knowledge, my guy. Share the knowledge. I need some easy money. Hey, nice outfit. You like my fit? Got my pull up pajamas on. They came in the mail from from a fan that I appreciate and love to death. But they're a little too big. A lot too big. A lot too big. Can we get a winning season next year? Winning, you mean just games? Like 9-8? I believe the Raiders could go 9-8 next year. But I believe they could go 12-5 this year. And I believe they can go 12-5 next year. I believe that every year. I can't help it, man. It's just a passion for this team. I can never say they're gonna suck, but they might suck next year. They might, but there's always a chance, bro. There's always a chance. Any given Sunday, right? You get the right coach in, just like the Bears did. Just like the Texans have done, just like the uh, who else just blew up? The Washington Commanders lately, right? The Green Bay Packers. Hell, they got Mike LaFleur, Matt LaFleur. Yeah, I like Matt LaFleur. Mike LaFleur. The big LaFleur, Matt LaFleur. They got that man in the building. He's been hitting the ground running. So yeah, they could turn it around. Yeah, they could turn it around. Run the line bet. Well, I already said that. All right. He's about 45 minutes behind the chat. Yeah, I'm way behind. I'm trying to catch up. We're gonna scroll through these. If I don't get to your comment and you had a comment that you want me to see, um, star that shit. Put the little tree emoji, the little Christmas tree emoji in front of your comment. That way I know you're talking to me and not just talking to the chat, and I can get through these faster. I'd appreciate it. You haven't made the Super Bowl since the '90s. What are you talking about? Who? Who? Are you talking to me? Or are you arguing with the chat? See, that's why I don't know. This why this takes so long. This takes so long. I'm gonna smoke some trees, damn it. Anybody want to smoke with me? 55-year-old quarterback. He doesn't know anything because he's not in school anymore. He's an adult now. Oh, if you don't know the channel Steelers fan, you don't know how to come. What? DK is probably going to get traded. I don't care though. Take him out of Pittsburgh and make him playoffs. He deserves better team. DK deserves a better team than the Steelers. That's crazy, bro. That's crazy. Love to hear what you got to say about Jack Del Rio. Go back and watch the beginning of the live. Somebody asked me that question. I think Jack Del Rio's been out of the NFL for a long time. I think 12-5. Um, he's had one of the best records we've had on this in this franchise. In the history of the franchise, right? Like top five records. It's worth another shot. The Raiders always bring in retreads. Al Davis did it. Um, John Gruden coached the team a couple times. Art Shell's coached the team a couple times. There's, I wouldn't be mad at it. I wouldn't be mad at it. There's a lot of things behind that. I'm sorry, but I don't want a quarterback who has to throw short down field unless he's rolling out. Russell Wilson, Kyler Mount, Murray, Piva, do not sign list. Oh, you could also, throw Bryce Young in there, right? He's another 5'10" quarterback. I hear what you're saying, man. Short quarterbacks in the NFL, don't do it. But we seen with Cliff Kingsbury, right? Cliff Kingsbury when he had Kyler Murray, they made the playoffs that one year, right? They were a pretty solid team. They had the offense, they had the weapons, they had a defense, behind him. And if you get somebody like a Cliff Kingsbury to come in and scheme that shit up, what time did you get? What time did you get on Rebel? Merry Christmas. Like 2 hours ago. I don't know what time it was. But if you get somebody like a Kingsbury, man, I think he could come in and run the offense, right? I think with a Kyler Murray, you could roll the guy out. I think rolling it out, it stretches the field, right? It buys your guys a little bit more time. It buys your receivers more time. Your offensive line isn't holding up as much because he's going to outrun those offensive linemen. I mean, those defensive linemen, most of them anyways. So it could work, right? It could work. The problem is, can you make it work consistently, game in and game in and game out? Can you come up with a system to consistently, get your quarterback out of the pocket or get him stepping up into the pocket when the pocket collapses around him, right? If you can get a good offensive line to put him in a cage and he can step up and make throws, I think Kyler Murray will be decent. But or not. I mean, not Kyler Murray, but shorter guys that could throw on the run that have accuracy. The problem with Kyler Murray is I don't know how serious he is about NFL. Right? He's still playing games. He's still doing all kinds of shit. So until he's serious, man, I don't know. But he's been pretty healthy, right, throughout his career. He missed what, half a season one time, I think. Ask ChatGPT for what? Carolina and Tampa Bay is still alive, right? Carolina is still alive, and I believe Tampa Bay is too. I think they're battling for the division, right? I do believe. Raiders suck. What team do you max? What team do you max? Right tackle. The Raiders need one bad. The Raiders need one bad. Nothing against DJ Glaze. I think he's a serviceable, backup when somebody gets hurt. But game in and game out. I think he's got time. His footwork is not there. He's slow as hell. He needs to run some dump drills up and down hills and work on his quickness and his athleticism. But, he's a big man. He's got big ass hands. He's violent in that direction. But just not athletic enough to play right tackle. So nothing against DJ Glaze, but I would like to see Charles Grant get some of these snaps. You know, whether it's Forsythe comes out, whether it's DJ Glaze that comes out. I want to see Charles Grant in this game against the Giants and against the Chiefs. I want to see what he has. Y'all can't have Tua's fins up. Why the hell we want Tua? Yo, what's up? Rough clips in the building. I don't want Tua. Hello, can you see my comment? Rough clips. Yes, I can see your comment. Seattle Seahawks. Seahawks look scary, bro. That's why we're gonna probably end up taking Clint Kubiak and making him our shit, right? Making him our head coach. He didn't talk about Seattle Seahawks. Making a making a Super Bowl? Yes, I did. Did I not mention them? I said Seahawks, Rams, 49ers. I'm pretty sure. No, it's offense wins games, defense wins championships. That is a fact, right? Statement of the day. I need a buzzer, like ding, 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 ding. Winner, winner. Raiders suck. It's my birthday today. Damn. You was born on the fake birthday of Jesus. That's nice. That's nice. Or the day after. I mean, the day after. Are you seeing those super chats I'm giving you, Rebel? Yes, I seen them. I just went through all of them. Who's going to be the new coach? Well, pull up tomorrow. Pull up tomorrow. We will talk about the coaching situation, right? It'll be what, Friday? There's some college games on, not too much to do. So pull up tomorrow. Make sure you like, subscribe to the channel, double tap the screen, hit the like button. If you're not on the phone, right? Give me that Mad Max kick on the like button. I'd appreciate it. And then pull up tomorrow. Turn on and tickle the notification button, right? So you get notified when I drop lives, and we'll talk about coaches. But there's a couple. There's a couple. And me, I don't just talk about coach, right? Because if you're gonna bring in a head coach, you got to know who his offensive coordinator is, who's gonna fit his system. You got to know what kind of defensive coach he's gonna bring in, right? What kind of defense he's gonna want to run, or what kind of defensive coordinator he's gonna bring in. Um, so tomorrow, I have seven head coaches, offensive coordinators, and defensive coordinators put together in a package for the Las Vegas Raiders. I also have how much I would pay these coaches, um, how long I would pay them for it, right? So I've been doing my homework for a while now, for the last month and a half, going over all these coaches, going over their coaching trees, going over where they came from, where they worked, where they, what they've done, positions they've been in, what positions they should be filling. So if you like football, if you're a diehard Raiders fan, and if you want somebody that takes time to go over their shit, pull up tomorrow. Pull up tomorrow. I think it'll be interesting. I have some interesting groups that I think nobody else is talking about for the Las Vegas Raiders, and I think could turn this fan base. I mean this franchise around like that. You're lucky there's even fans coming. Well, I don't know how many fans are coming really. LOL. Hey, I'm new. Appreciate you. How are you? I'm good, Zoe. Appreciate you pulling up. Is DK good? He can make the Hall of Fame. Um, I think DK makes the Hall of Fame. I mean, if you look at his stats, right, close to 1,000 yards every single season, touchdowns, pretty solid. I mean, Maria Lopez in the building. Go Raiders, Raiders. I think he has a chance, man. Like if you look at some of the guys in the past, you know, that have made the Hall of Fame, there's a chance. There's a chance. Yes, Raider Nation for life. Fuck the other 31. He doesn't like Pittsburgh though. Who? I like the Steelers. I mean, I don't like anybody. I only like the Raiders. So we all know he doesn't like Pittsburgh. I like Will Howard. I like Will Howard. I'm saying it's hard not to crash out. No, it's not. Shout out to Dixon Reyes. I'm a big fan. Shout out, shout out, shout out. Did you see that dude? He got deleted. Nice. I like when people get deleted. Sniped. That dude's disgusting. Yeah, dudes are gross. Trolls, trolls, trolls. Do you think the Raiders fumbled the bag by not getting Javon Clowney? You guys make a difference all year. Could have got him for nothing and be in the season. I think the Raiders were, maybe a little gun shy because of um, the Ignique and Ngagwe situation and then the Chandler Jones situation. I think maybe they're just a little hesitant to go get, a veteran, but bro, Jedavon Clowney would have killed it for the Raiders and it would have taken the pressure off of Max Crosby. But I think they were trying to give Malcolm Kuntz coming off a knee injury, making $12 million a season. I think they're trying to give Malcolm Kuntz, a shot to show that he deserves to be that guy. And I think it cost him. But I think mainly it's Pete Carroll, bro. Pete Carroll. I think I think Clowney would have been a Raider if it was Spytek's choice, and I think Pete Carroll had a lot of guys in free agency, corners, safeties, linebackers, right, that they could have brought in that made it make a difference on this team. And I think he was trying to win with Gino looking good, so he could be the star and a hero instead of trying to help this team win. Um, hey, can you go for Raiders, bro? What does that mean? Yeah, I could go for the Raiders. All they do is lose. Hey, Jimmy, did you see the super chat? Yes, Raiders suck. Mind over matter. Pay attention, pay attention, pay attention. Do you think they came to Hall of Fame? He just needs another Pro Bowl. I mean, yeah, bro, with his Pro Bowls, yeah, I think he's gonna be, you know, I don't think it'll take him long to get in there. I don't. Doesn't he has a Super Bowl, right? DK would be sick on a team like I don't know, a team with a young quarterback, right? A team like the Carolina Panthers. Sorry, I was trying to watch this. A team like the Carolina Panthers, right? Maybe even the Green Bay Packers. I think he'd be a way bigger asset on one of those teams. You're a Chargers fan. Don't you ever, ever say that. Don't you ever come in my live. No, I'm just kidding. But for real, though, don't say that. Kenny, you're being called. I called you. Raiders team, you said you need a jersey. Like you're crying this season is over. See you guys next year. Come on, man. That's not funny. The Raiders season has been over since week two. I told you in week 2 or 3, bro. It's done. It's done. The first time Gino threw 3 interceptions, I said this season is a washed season, just like the head coach that we hired at 74 years old and is, living in a time machine. Go Raiders. Faith, what's good? What's good? Like, subscribe, follow. If y'all pulling up and you just finding this channel, I've been here for 2 years. YouTube don't push my shit. But if you like this channel and you know other Raiders that would like this channel or this content, and we put, picking up what I'm putting down, share the link, man. Send them over. I think you might be a Raider fan. Rajal, I think you might be a genius, bro. Like you are spot on. Like you should be working for NASA. Very, very observant, very intelligent, very fast and focused mind, bro. Wild boar. Yeah, we know Gino sucks. Gino fans try to tell you. They try to tell me. Shit, I was trying to tell the Raider fans. I already knew. Listen to Upchurch music. City makes a killing. I'm down with some Upchurch, bro. I'm down with some Upchurch. Some Adam Calhoun. Some Upchurch. I like all music, man. I listen to everything. I did a video on Luke Steckel on my Raider channel. Nice. Luke Steckel is a dog. I like Luke Steckel. The Raiders suck. Man, y'all got that's all y'all got is the Raiders suck. If you was ever in a cap off, you know, talking about people's mamas and shit, y'all would lose. Yo, the Raiders suck. The Raiders suck. I know you are, but what am I? The Raiders suck. Come on, bro. Come in with some original shit, bro. Tell me when was the last time we were good. Tell me when was the last time we won a Super Bowl. Tell me how many wins we have this season or last season or the year before. Tell me how many wins we have in the last 5 years. Don't just come in and tell me my team sucks. Tell me why they suck, please. If the Raiders get the number one pick, who should they get? They should get a whole bunch of draft picks, a whole pile of like a Christmas bag full of them bitches. You know, two this year, two first this year, a first next year, maybe even a second and a third somewhere in there. They should get all of those. They should trade back. They are not in any position to get a quarterback without seeing, what the third year quarterback in Aiden O'Connell has with a great offensive line, right? With a great or decent receiving core, with a top 15 defense. Aiden hasn't had that, but he won without it. So it would be stupid and malpractice for the Raiders to not see what they have in Aiden O'Connell. Well, they hired a 74-year-old coach, and, he's blinded. He's in love with Geno Smith and feels like this is the greatest quarterback to ever step face on a gridiron. And it blindsided our season, our fan base, and we suck. So, trade back, trade back, trade back, trade back again, trade back again. And whoever calls and says, damn, you want to trade back one more time? Oh, yeah. We trade back again, too. I'll trade back, I don't care how many times. I could end up at 12, 15, 18, 25, 32 in this draft. I don't give a shit as long as I have another pick somewhere in that first round and I have some more coming next year. Is Max Crosby gone next year? That's draft picks. I mean, that's two draft picks, but I just like, I've said this before on this channel. The owner, Mark Davis of the Raiders, and Max Crosby have a relationship, not no crazy, stupid shit like y'all think, a friendship. Maybe I should have reworded that. Uh, they have a friendship, right? They they go to lunch together. They talk on a um, I don't know what kind of basis. Maybe it's a weekly basis. Maybe it's probably more than that. I would venture to say. But Mark Davis loves Max Crosby. He knows that he's the franchise, and he stole them in the fourth round. They're not moving on from Max. It would take three first rounds to get Mark Davis to even think about it, and then you would probably have to throw in a fourth one just to get him to pick up the phone and talk about it. So if anybody wants Max Crosby, it's not they don't have the capital or they're not willing to get rid of the capital. So unless Max Crosby says fuck this, I'm done with the Raiders, I want out. He will never ever be in another jersey unless it's three or four first round picks. And I still think Mark Davis would be stupid enough to say no. Only building block you have is Genty. What about Brock Bowers, bro? We have Brock Bowers. We have Dante Thornton. That's going to be good in the next 3 years, maybe, possibly. We have Jack Besh that could be a number two on a lot of teams right now, I feel like. We have Eric Stokes that we're paying less than $5 million in free agency that we can bring back, sign to a long-term deal. We have we have pieces, man. We have JPJ. We have, we don't know what we have in Charles Grant. We still have Colton Miller. There's still some pieces on this team. We have a lot of players. like Tommy Eichenberg, excuse me, like Tommy Eichenberg that don't get no damn reps. That could be, could be Carl Schlesinger. If Tommy Eichenberg had as many snaps as Carl Schlesinger for the Cleveland Browns right now, last year when he was a rookie, we don't know what this kid could be, man. We don't know. He's shown flashes last year. He's shown flashes this year. So there's some building blocks, and I don't think Genty's the only one. Like we have two on the offense just alone in Genty and Bowers, and still Michael Mayer. You could use him as a building block or a trading block. Do you ever feel like you're the chosen one? I'm getting that vibe from you. I don't even know how to reply to that. Like, what do you mean? Like, I feel like I'm like cocky or better than everybody. What are you getting at, Victoria Pena? I don't know. I definitely don't feel like I'm a chosen one. If I am, you would think I'd be treated a little bit better in my lifetime. Fucking, I'm just saying. If this is how the chosen one gets treated, well, damn, I don't want to be chosen no more. That's all I'm saying. You get draft picks, uh, clear money by getting rid of Crosby. It's what happens when you rebuild. I mean, I get it. I get it. You got to rebuild, right? But you don't have to get rid of Max Crosby to rebuild. Look, let's break this down. The Chicago Bears. The Bears, right? They had the first overall pick 3 years ago. 3 years ago. And they were sitting there thinking, we got no offense. We don't know who our coach is. Our defense is mid at best. The offensive line is. They play on roller skates. Our defensive line couldn't put pressure on a 3-year-old, right? Like, that's where the Bears were. So the Bears, being a smart, I guess that's maybe going a little too far, but being a organization that's getting smarter, having a good GM, the Bears said, we could get draft capital for this number one pick because if we draft one player, that ain't helping shit, right? The one player is going to help us at that one position, but then we have 8 more holes to fill on both sides of the ball. So how about we trade back that pick? And people were like, I can't believe the Bears just traded the first round pick. Well, the following year, they get a quarterback, Caleb Williams. Some say maybe the next greatest of all time, right? The kid's a dog. He can throw, he can run. Um, yes, he's got some shit he's got to work out, but every young quarterback does. But my point is, the Bears, they traded back. They got a whole bunch of draft capital. They got their quarterback. The following year, this year, they went and got their head coach and decided, hey, we got all this draft capital. Why don't we build this offensive line around this quarterback that we drafted last year? They're a playoff team 2 years later. The Houston Texans, 2 years ago, right? They were one of the teams in a bunch of trade art. They were what? Sitting at 2. They went and got their quarterback, CJ Stroud, because the Carolina Panthers thought Bryce Young was the guy, and they're going to trade up to number 1 and get their quarterback. A lot of people have wanted the Raiders to do that for how many years? Seems to be working now, right? But for the first 2 years, it struggled drastically. The team behind them, of course, that baby, bro. Good Lord. um, the Houston Texans drafted C.J. Stroud, and they took their capital and said, let's move up and get the best player on the board, Will Anderson. They got a quarterback and a defensive lineman to put pressure on your quarterback, on the other opposing team quarterback in the same draft. The next year, they were a playoff team. The next year, they're battling for a playoff team. The Raiders already have Max Crosby. They already have that one edge rusher piece. Now they need that. They need that quarterback. They need that guy to come in and make big plays, to pick up first downs when nobody thinks they can, to keep them ahead of the sticks so they don't have second and 15, third and 25, first and 80. Fucking, right? You feel what I'm saying? So that's what they need to do, bro. That's what I'm thinking, right? That's what I'm thinking. You already got your edge rusher in Max Crosby. He's 27 years old. He's in the prime of his life. Yes, he might have to have his knee drained after every game for the rest of his life. If that's a problem, if his injury status is a problem, then move on and get rid of him. But if he's a healthy Max Crosby and you're not getting at least three first rounds, you're setting your franchise back getting rid of him. The biggest thing seems to be coaching. Plenty of teams were completely rebuilt this year. Yes, Gregory Stevens, 100%. A lot of teams were rebuilt, and they were rebuilt with way less money than the Raiders had last year. The Raiders had the money to rebuild last year. They came in talking about, we're going to win now, right? We're a playoff team. We're going to win 10 games because I'm Pete Carroll and I've won everywhere I went. 10 games in the first season, which was all bullshit. He's never won 10 games in the first season anywhere, not even in a second. Um, just bullshit that everybody bought into and drank the Kool-Aid, and they gassed everybody up. But if you go and get that tough quarterback that has connections in the NFL, that can bring a young, up and coming offensive coordinator, the Raiders, something nobody's talking about, right? Everybody wants a quarterback. Everybody wants an offensive lineman. You know what the Raiders need more than anything on the planet that I believe? A flipping kickoff returner, a punt returner. Knees nuts, what's good? Somebody that can do both. Um, Nobody wants to answer that question. Who are the only five Raiders in history? There's only five Raiders rookies in history to have over 1,000 yards from scrimmage their rookie season. There's five. Nobody still answered that. That's been like over an hour and a half ago. Um, Let me look at this real quick. But the Las Vegas Raiders, bro, a kick returner, a punt returner, somebody dynamic to shake up special teams. They haven't had one of those in I don't know how long. When was the last time the Raiders had somebody run a kickoff return or a punt return for a touchdown? Of all days, bro. Of all days. Of all days to look this shit up. Anybody want to guess? Anybody want to guess? Um, Shout out to everybody who has commented, who has left a comment. But I'm gonna go back up here to the bottom because I'm tired of missing all this shit when I ask questions. Dwayne Gruden, bam. How about the feeling of Vikings? Give us Crosby, give you Brandon Ayuk for the 49ers. Bro, eat corn the long way. That's all I can say. Shout out to the Cardinals fan in the building. Appreciate you popping through, strolling through on this late Christmas after. So, nobody wants to guess when the last time the Las Vegas Raiders ran a kickback return or a punt return back for a touchdown. Raiders ran a punt return 99 yards against the Broncos like 6 years ago. Dwayne Harris 99-yard touchdown. Facts, my friend. The last time the Las Vegas Raiders ran a punt return for a touchdown was Dwayne Harris on Christmas Eve. That's right. Almost to this day. Almost 6 years to the day. Dwayne Harris, 99-yard kick return for a touchdown. Christmas Eve 2018, bro. Um, you have to go back further to Jacoby Ford. Jacoby Ford, October 11th, as a return. October 11th of what year, though? 2011. October 16th of 2000. Fuck my life, bro. This franchise is horrible, dude. Oh my god, bro. The Las Vegas Raiders since 2011, bro. Since 2011. That is 14, almost 15 years. The Las Vegas, Oakland slash LA Raiders have ran back two, only two punt returns for a touchdown or kick returns in 15 flipping years. It's time that we draft another Jacoby Ford, another Dwayne Harris. It is time the Las Vegas Raiders go in this draft and say we need a receiver, but we need run that can run kick returns, run punt returns, and that's who we're drafting. That is first or second on our list. If we have two first rounds, I'm taking the best kick return, punt returner in all of the nation. And if there's not one that's that great and there's one that's going to be out next year, I don't give a shit. I'm taking them anyways, and I'm probably taking the one next year also. Because if you can't score on special teams, whether it's turnovers, fumbles for a touchdown, whether it's, punt returns or kick returns for touchdowns, if you can't score on special teams this nowadays in the NFL, bro, you can't win football games. And that's where the Raiders are at. We can't win football games because we can't score on special teams. We can't score on defense. We are the worst team in the NFL the last 20 years on takeaways, on scoring after takeaways. We had one good year with Antonio Pierce, and they said, nah, he can't coach. Let's get rid of Antonio Pierce. God, this fan base sometimes, the nation sometimes. This is why we can't have nice things. I don't know why I irritate myself by looking up shit. Trust me, brother, you're fine. I'm a Falcon fan. See, yeah, I mean that makes me feel a little better. No, it doesn't. Y'all won 5 games this year already. What, 6 games? 5 or 6? Come on, bro. We haven't won 6 games in 2 years. Together. Together. We haven't won 6 games in 2 years back to back, bro. Y'all got a quarterback. Yeah, he's injured. Yeah, he's got to have, you know, yeah, he's got to have knee surgery. But but y'all are better off than us. Y'all got Kirk Cousins. I'll take Kirk Cousins over Geno any day of the week. I mean, we got Aiden, but nobody will play Aiden. I don't know why. But your dad is a Raiders fan with the dub. Nice, nice. Low key Commander fan, but low key the season is depressing. This season is depressing for anybody in the that doesn't have more than 4 wins. But the good thing is, right? Some teams like the Commanders, you have a quarterback. You have a good coaching staff. You have a good offensive coordinator. You have a good running game coordinator. You have a damn good defensive coordinator. Okay, maybe the defensive coordinator needs some work. I'll digress on that. Um, but the Commanders, they have shit, right? They have shit. They have one of the best receivers in the NFL when healthy, and Terry McLaurin, in my opinion. They have Jaden Daniels if healthy. The Commanders have some shit, right? They also only have 4 wins this year, which means they're gonna have a um, top six or top 6 or 7 pick in this NFL draft. So the Commanders are way ahead of us. The Falcons, they don't have a first round pick in this draft. That hurts. That's that's bad management right there. But you take a swing for a quarterback when you have one. Um, just things you should never do as a franchise. But the Raiders lead that list. But yeah, I guess we're Falcons and Raiders might be a little more even than I thought. Bowers is great though, best tight end in the league. I don't know if he's the best tight end in the league. I'm a Raiders fan, but I think Terry McBride for the Cardinals on the one of the worst teams in the NFL, you know, with a with Jacoby Brissett playing quarterback, is killing it this year. Killing it. The dude catches everything. He runs decent routes. Not the fastest guy, but he's strong as hell. Um, you also have the Packers tight end, another dog, absolute dog. So Brock is up there, with the right weapons around him, a real true number one that can stretch the field and actually catch the ball. I think Brock Bowers is you know is chasing that number one tight end in the NFL. But this year the Raiders, like they do everybody else, they ruined the season. You know, they made him regress instead of progress. Progress. It's bad. It's bad. At least the Raiders won a Super Bowl, but Atlanta gets blown out the water every Super Bowl. I mean, you got us on that. We do have 3 Super Bowls, so that makes me feel better. But not for long though, because I mean, I don't know. I would almost, I would almost give up one of them Super Bowls. The 3 we had in a short amount of time. I'd be willing to give one of those back for another one now, right? It's been way too long. But as an Atlanta Falcon, wait, you have a Super Bowl, don't you? They won one, didn't they? Wait, I gotta look that up. Now you got me questioning myself. Have the Atlanta Falcons ever won a Super Bowl? Appeared in 2 Super Bowls. Oh, yeah. Oh, I thought they had one with Joe Flacco. Not Joe Flacco. Matt Ryan. Who that? Who else that? Fuck, I don't know. I missed Super. No, I got you. Philip Rivers, Jake Moody, and Brandon Ayuk. Perfect. What? No, 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 no. If you're talking about Moody, the running back, I'll take him. Genty needs that 1-2 punch. He's the one, but he needs the two, right? Maybe next time our team will take. My team will make it, and my team is the Commanders. I mean, that was a hard way to go for the Commanders, right? You get your quarterback, you make it all the way to the NFC Championship game, and then you hit a brick wall on a defense, and you can't do shit about it, right? That's just rough. That's a rough way to go. Um, and then you come back, and then you come back the following year, and your quarterback gets hurt, and your team is just not good enough with Marcus Mariota, a former Raider. It's just weird how life works, right? Y'all get Antonio Pierce's our former head coach's guy, right? He comes in, has a great year, and then the next year is just it's the NFL, man. You never know. Raiders need Gruden back. That's crazy. Why is everybody talking about? Look, one thing I'll say about Gruden is if you can bring Gruden back, baby steps, baby steps, offensive coordinator. You want to come back to the NFL? You come back, you make my offense, the Las Vegas Raiders offense, right? Boom. No, my hat's not working. Um, but you take this offense and you make us great again. You make us contenders. And then we'll possibly talk about firing the head coach if you're not winning a lot of games, right? Come be the Raiders offensive coordinator. John Gruden, do you hear me? I'm telling you. Call up Mark Davis. Tell him put Tom Brady in the Fox booth and take his money and get the fuck out of the building if he doesn't want to do this. This is your team. You're bringing in Gruden, but he's not going to have all the draft chart, all the all the power to draft. He's not going to be involved in that, right? He's going to have a little say of what he needs to make his offense work. And then if that works out, then you talk about bringing Gruden back because there is no denying that John Gruden is still one of the best offensive minds in all of football. There is still no denying that he is into making fucking nightmares, right? There is still no denying you're gonna get players to play for John Gruden. They're gonna want to run through a brick wall. And if you can have that in the building, with the players knowing that as soon as the head coach, screws up or misses a step, that Gruden's back in the building and they play for his ass on offense, and you can get a defensive coordinator to hold it down on defense. Yeah, the Raiders are back, baby. But will John Gruden and his ego come in as offensive coordinator? That's that's a question for another time. Sam Darnold has more wins at least 2 years than the Raiders have wins in the last 5 years. Geomex, Geomex, why are you bringing down my morning? Why are you bringing down the morning, bro? It's fucked up, bro. It's messed up. But that is facts. 100% facts. Kiddo best. Would you be fine with packing up Mendoza and having the Mendoza and Genty and Bowers trio? I would not be fine with that. I would not. I mean, okay, I would be fine with it because what the hell am I gonna do? I'm just a shitty ass content creator that doesn't know shit about football, right? I'm just a fan. So I would I would have to be because I'm a Raider fan. I'm not gonna pick another team, so I'd have to be fine with it. But I would not endorse it. I would not embrace it. I would not love it. I would like it, but I wouldn't love it. I just don't feel like picking a quarterback with all the holes that we have that we could fill in this one draft and free agency this year, and then get your quarterback next year when there's 8 choices to choose from. Like, to me, if I could walk in a store and they got, I want some white chocolate and they got, white chocolate Snickers and white chocolate Hershey's and white chocolate Reese's, right? And you got 10 different white chocolates to pick from. Um, some got peanut butter, right? Some got dark chocolate in the middle. You have choices. You get to pick what you want. But when you go into a draft and there's one quarterback in the first round, and then there's, a couple guys that might make it, fall to the might, make it in the second, most of them probably third or fourth. It just makes no sense to me. It just makes no sense to me. So I think Mendoza and Genty would be okay. But we have to ask ourselves this too. If you look at Mendoza's stats, how many times does he throw to his tight end? How much does he throw over the middle, right? Most of his great passes that everybody says, oh, wow, did you see that throw? Yeah, when you have all day to stand in a pocket, bro, and you can't throw perfect, you shouldn't be a quarterback in the NFL, and nobody should be mentioning your name. So Mendoza has a lot of things JD5, Jaden Daniels had, right? A lot of things Joe Burrow had. 2 great receivers, a pretty solid, not great, but better than good offensive line, right? A decent running game, a defense that's top in the country, and it's going to get you the ball back. And if you have all those things, you don't have to be the greatest quarterback in college football to succeed, right? And that's my point. The Raiders don't have any of those things, to make it easy for him to succeed. We need all of those. So I'm passing it. Now. If Dante Moore comes out, then I might have to I might have to rethink that, right? Because I think there's more ceiling. I think um, he throws better on the run. He doesn't need the greatest offensive line. Both of his receivers, his top receivers, got hurt this year, and he still had great numbers, right? They ran the ball a lot. They passed out of the backfield to their running backs. He passed to his tight end a lot more than Mendoza, I do believe. I could be wrong on that stat. But for me, I like Moore. But I think he stays for one more year. Any Warzone, lot of requests. My dad is a Raiders fan too. Nice. Shout out to your father. Vikings and Raiders took a Super Bowl from us way back. Yeah, and taking those Super Bowls from y'all, got a couple taken from us in a rough fashion, in a rough fashion by our old head coach, right? Yeah, but Bush Raider was good. We have 10 draft picks. We should draft another dual threat running back in the fourth and fifth, like Darius Taylor from Minnesota. I, I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind that. I think not. I think. I believe Bush. That's a damn good idea. I think, like I said earlier, the Raiders need that 1-2 punch. I think Ashton Genty could be that power in the inside with that that sneaky breakaway speed to the outside. He's gonna cook linebackers one on one. Most of the times, he's gonna beat safeties also. But you need that speed guy, right? You need that guy that you can pitch the ball to on the sidelines, and he's gonna be 15 yards up the field by the time he catches it, right? We need some one of them backs that has that Bo Jackson breakaway speed with them long ass, spider damn long ass spider steps. Like every time he stepped, it seemed like it was 8, 10 yards, right? And you're running a 4-2, so ain't nobody catching you. We need that kind of guy, right? And I don't know what Darius Taylor's speed is, but I know he's decent out of the backfield, and he looks like he's got that slipperiness to him. So I think it would work. I think it would work. If they do take a running back, it's definitely gonna be in the late rounds this time for sure. Stafford contact ends next season. Him and Tyreek. Oh, and I'm glad you said that because the Rams, right? The Los Angeles Rams also have 2 first round picks this year, and the fact that Matthew Stafford, like you just said, um, Mama Murphy, right? That's who said it. Yeah, Mama Murphy. Shout out to you. You know, the fact that Matthew Stafford, if they could win a Super Bowl this year, they are contenders, right? And with his, contract being up, do they take those 2 first rounds, knowing that they already have a Super Bowl caliber team, and go get a Mendoza, right? Maybe they jumped ahead of the line and say shit, because they have Atlanta's pick, which is what 7 or 8, and then they have their own pick, so you can take those two and use them for leverage to jump up to the first, right? I believe that's a big possibility also. Raiders losing to Little League, that's messed up. Gruden won't do that. Won't settle for OC. He will be a head coach for the New York Giants. That would be wild, bro. I wouldn't mind see Grew back. At Bush Raider, I would draft a running back too. They rely on a rookie with no backup is pathetic. Yeah, the fact that we bitched that Ashton Genty wasn't getting enough carries during the season, um, you know, 10 a game here, 12 a game here, 14 in a game here, they started to add up. He's already at 230 carries, I do believe. Maybe it's just touches, but I think it's carries, which that's getting up there to Bijan Robinson. That's getting up there um, to Saquon. That's getting up there to Barry Sanders. Right? That's getting up there to all these dudes. Todd McShay reported Dante Moore going back to Oregon to get that Nike money. I mean, that's what I've been saying too, right? Ty Simpson, the same thing, right? Bro, I'm done with this Christmas shit. Christmas is over. Oh, that's way better. Hell with that Christmas hat, yo. Um, but that's what I've been saying, all year, bro. I feel like my number, my number. I've said this a million times, right? My number sits at 25 to 30, right? As a college quarterback, you want your you want your quarterback. What's happening to my door? You want your quarterback to have at least minimum 25 starts in college football, right? Against solid teams, good teams, not just bad teams, right? And we talked about it. Mendoza, he's sitting at 18 right now. If he wins, you know, three of these playoff games, that puts him at what, 20? Or he's sitting at 19, I think. That puts him at 22. That's close. That's close for Dante Moore. Mendoza, I think he's at 24 or 25 right now. That's he's had enough starts. That's a good number. Ty Simpson, he's had 13 starts in college football. 13, bro. You know how many quarterbacks have succeeded in the NFL that only had 13 starts? I think it's four. I do believe. One of them is Derek Carr, drafted in the second round. Would you be fine with picking up Mendoza if the draft were to have a trio of Mendoza, Genti, and Bowers? I mean, I think that's a good trio. I think that's a good trio. But again, like I said, I don't know about his size and shit. If that's true, only Mendoza worth the top five pick. Ty Simpson will go in the 20s like Dart did last year, right? And I don't even know. I don't even know if somebody would be willing to move up and take a chance on Ty Simpson that early with only having 13 starts in the NFL. Look at the teams he lost to, right? He lost to Florida State, bro. A non top 25 ranked team. Yes, they have a good defense, but should you have really lost that game? And I know it's not the quarterback that lost the game; it's the team. But he also went against two ranked teams. They lost those games. They got smoked against Georgia. So Ty Simpson is a dog, but he would be a better dog if he stayed in college, learned, got more snaps, right? Got more coaching, more development. I think those dudes would be scary. You build on the side of the ball at a time, address the O line, wide receiver, and free agency, and get a quarterback in this draft. Then what do we do? I mean, so say we do that. Say we do that, Bush Raider. Say we go get an O line, which I don't. I think maybe a right tackle, but we might have the guy for the future already, right? But say we go get an O line, a wide receiver, and a quarterback. Say we average 30 points a game, but our defense is still giving up 32 points a game, right? It's not going to help. It's not going to help us. So it'd be good to have that and then possibly build a defense the following year. But I think the defense is closer than the offense, right? I think Jack Best needs development. Ashton Genty still needs development. Brock Bowers still needs development. Um, Offensive line, you have, a bunch of young pieces. You have Max Crosby. So if you only need another big name defensive line, right? Why not why not build the defense now this year while you have a bunch of picks, right? Build it now, build it in free agency, and then next year when there's five, six, seven, eight quarterbacks in the first round, you take your quarterback then when you have a defense that can get him the ball when he makes mistakes, right? When he throws interceptions, when he fumbles. To me, that just makes more sense. But I'm not against going and getting a wide receiver or a O line. I just would like to see what we have in our O line in the two that we drafted in the third round last year, the two that we drafted in the second and third round the year before, right? That's four linemen taken in the top 3 rounds in the last 2 years that we've only seen JPJ and DJ Glaze and a little bit of Caleb Rogers. So before you go swinging for the fences, we got to know what we have. And the only way we're going to do that, right? We know what we got in the defense. They're on the field all the time. I mean, they spend more time on the field than than the offense and special teams put together. So our defense is ranked 16th in the NFL right now. Our offense is ranked 32nd. Which one's closer? Um, Also, we can get a hog reveal. I'm down with that. Go check out Rebel's Patreon. Where do I get a hat like that? Like what? Like this one? Or the Christmas one? Can you say my name, please? No, because it's probably some absurd shit that's trying to get me in trouble. I have to go to sleep. Peace out. Love you. Go to sleep. Good night. Um, hey Tim, who are you taking to be in a Super Bowl? Dark horse teams. Dark horse teams. Dark horse. I would go with maybe a team like I don't know how much of a dark horse it is, but the 49ers with all the struggles they've had on injuries. AFC, I would take Jacksonville as the dark horse. They've seemed to hit their stride right now. They have everything clicking. And I think Jacksonville's going to make some noise, really. If you want them to say your name, give a super chat. That works too. The 6'7" kid in the building. There you go, bro. There you go. Merry Christmas. Throw a super chat. You ain't got a super chat to say your name, but it would be nice. Um, it hurt. Sorry, bro. Seahawks fan here. It sucks to be the Raiders going down like this. It's y'all's fault. It's Seattle's fault, bro. You gave us a shitty quarterback, a washed up old ass coach. Seattle's genius, bro. They knew the love for Pete Carroll with Geno Smith, and they acted like it was a good deal and said, "Yeah, we'll take a third round. We'll take a third round from Geno." Meanwhile, they were just gonna cut Geno anyways. They wanted Sam Darnold. They never wanted Geno Smith. Sam Darnold was the guy from the jump. That's why they didn't extend his contract. The Raiders are just dumb, bro. But shout out to the Seahawks for getting rid of Pete Carroll and Geno because their franchise took off. Um, hey guys, how's it going? Mega fat guy, what's good, my guy? That's a bad name though. Maybe Las Vegas chances in the next 4 years. Bang bang Niner gang. Yeah, them 49ers look tough, bro. There's a lot of people saying that um, it could be their coach's last year. Like maybe coaching football. Um, period. I don't see Shanahan stepping away from the game, but I don't know who was talking about that. But I seen a couple things saying might be Shanahan's last year. Which, come on, man, with all they've done with that beat up ass team, to get rid of Shanahan would be the stupidest thing the 49ers have ever done. Crosby definitely getting traded. He's not going though. Yeah, right, dude. My name isn't absurd. It's pretty messed up, bro. Get a defense, draft a number one linebacker like Anthony Hill Jr. from Texas Longhorns. A corner in the third round like Donovan Jackson. Okay, we talking. And Jacob Rodriguez from Texas Tech. Bro, if you give me Jacob Rodriguez and Anthony Hill, I'm taking that all day. I mean, I love Jacob Rodriguez. I think that dude is a dog. I think he's one of the next, a more athletic, physical Robert Spillane type that could be that dude, you know, for many, many years to come. But the NFL might be too big for him too. But nah, he's got that dog in him. I also like, I love Arvell Reese. I also like CJ. The hell's the linebacker's name? CJ. Fuck, I don't know. It's late. I've been on here too long. We know, bro. Sorry. Crosby wearing a Seahawks jersey next year. You would hope so, but that's not gonna happen. Good morning. You're homosexual. That's just stay in the closet, bro. Yeah, this is not the channel to come out on. Same Rodriguez in coverage. He played on the offense with a freshman team at Virginia. Running back, wide receiver, tight end, and some quarterback. Yeah, the dude is a monster, bro. And if you could pick him up in a second, which some people are talking about him falling to the second, I don't know how. But if you could trade back and get two first round picks and he's one of them, I'm happy as hell for we starting out the draft good. Are you talking about C.J. Stroud? Probably was for a minute. I don't know. But man, it's been 3 hours on Christmas morning. There's 22 people in here. I love y'all, but I hate to get off. Um, let's smoke some trees. Anybody want a dabby dab? Dabby dab? This draft is defensive heavy. That's what I'm saying, bro. Very, very defense heavy. Take a dab before I get off though. You know, I feel like the Raiders they need that Mason Graham type, right? They need a guy that can get to the quarterback up the middle, that can disrupt the backfield, with his pressure. Um, he don't have to be a sack monster, right? But he's got to be a run stopper, and I feel like Mason Graham does that. He's still yet to get a sack this year. Maybe he gets one before the season is over. But if you get that type, right, a guy that does the dirty work, that's not worried about his stats, right? If the Raiders could pull one of those guys, Max Crosby gets better. I mean, just look at the couple games with Christian Wilkin next to him. Next to him, he was way better, right? He looked, that Ravens game, him and Christian Wilkins were all over the field, right? They were just disrupting everything. So if you get him another type like that, and I think we have that. I think we have Tonka Hemingway and JJ Pegues, and I like both of these young bucks. You know, I think Tonka Hemingway has showed some special flashes when he's been out there against some damn good offensive linemen, and he's beaten guys that that Malcolm Kuntz went against the whole game and struggled. He came out in 5 plays and got a sack, right? So the Raiders have some pieces, man. We have some sneaky, sneaky pieces. What's up? Baseball today. That's why I addressed the O line, wide receiver, free agency, and addressed quarterback um, and defense in this draft. We already have weapons on the offense. Just need a quarterback, wide receiver, fix the O line. Let me ask you this though. With Colton Miller back, with JPJ back, with Caleb Rogers, with whoever. I mean, even Kappa at center. Hell, he hasn't played too bad, right? Um, did you have what? Yeah, you're funny, bro. I read my comments before I say them out loud, so don't try to get me with no stupid shit. Um, I don't even know what I was saying. But yeah, man, I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that. I feel like the Raiders are in a spot right now with Cam Miller, with with Kenny Pickett, with Gino in the building, with Aiden O'Connell. Like we forget what Aiden O'Connell did with no offensive line, with after Devontae left. Um, we could run. He could be a bridge for a year and win way more games than Gino did this year. I promise you that. So we could get a quarterback, a Sorsby or a Drew Allar. We could get a lot of these guys. Third round, probably fourth. I hear John Mateers going back to school, right? A lot of these quarterbacks that people are thinking are going to fall to the second and third round are more than likely going to come back. I just don't feel like there's a lot of quarterbacks to choose from in this draft. And for that reason, I would skip the quarterback this year. But I wouldn't be mad at you know, Fanu playing right tackle. That would just kill it. Um, Miller at left tackle, JPJ Lindenberg at OC. Look, I don't know who came up with this Lindenbaum shit. If I had to guess, I would say it was Mitchell Renz. I'm just saying, but I don't know who came up with the Lindenbaum, but I've heard it on X. I've heard it on Instagram. I've seen it a lot, and I know the Ravens. They declined his fifth-year option, but that doesn't mean that they're not going to franchise tag the best center in all of football, right? Unless the Ravens are thinking this is not the team and it's time to rebuild and just keep a couple pieces. There's talks about them trading Lamar Jackson to the Miami Dolphins, to the Atlanta Falcons. There are teams that want Lamar Jackson because Lamar Jackson doesn't want to be with Harbaugh no more. That's the rumors that I'm hearing. The little birdie in my ear is saying there's there's friction there, right? And when there's friction, usually fire starts. So I don't think Lindenbaum is gonna be even out there for a minute in free agency, right? And knowing the Raiders with Spy Tech as cheap as they are, I don't see them throwing $20 million at a center, a season. But I see some dumbass team like I don't mean to say dumbass team. I apologize, but I see a team like the Browns, you know, possibly throwing that out there. Um, there's a lot of teams that need centers. Centers are hard to come by, and if Lindenbaum hits the market, I just don't see the Raiders being the highest bidder, and I just don't see that. I don't see that being an option. I could be wrong, right? It's happened before, once or twice. It's fucking with you. But Lindenbaum would be an absolute steal, and we have the money, we have the cap to do it, right? I just don't see the cheap ass Raiders spending that kind of money in free agency. Spytech says you build your franchise through the draft, right? If you look at every interview from John Spytek last year, he mentioned Christian Worth, um, right? He mentioned all the all the linemen that they drafted that sat for a year that came in and played. Um, all the guys that they've kept in the building for the last 5 years. I don't see Spytek being that guy to go out and spend big money on a big time free agent. As much as I would like to, as much as the nation would like to, I just really don't see Spytek doing that. But um, JPJ, OC, Kevin Zitzler. I wanted Kevin Zitzler last year. I really thought the Raiders, if they went and got a guy like that, I thought even even Van Rotten, right? He went to the Giants, but he was a free agent for a minute. They should have went and got him. I think that would have solidified our offensive line a little bit. But we have a lot of pieces, like you're saying, right? We have, JPJ. Is he going to be a center? Is he going to be a guard? When you have 32-inch arms, it's kind of hard to play the center position, which is why a lot of people in the NFL agree with what Pete Carroll and Brendan Carroll and Chip Kelly, whoever changed JPJ to the guard position. A lot of people agree with that and say, that was the right way to go. JPJ is a better guard than he is a center. Well, if that's the case, then what do you do with Caleb Rogers? Because JPJ has been playing right guard. Caleb Rogers is coming in playing right guard. Who do you move over to the left? Right? Is it Can JPJ play both sides? We seen his rookie year. He played left guard, but he struggled there. That's why they moved him to center. Caleb Rogers hasn't struggled at right guard. It'd be dumb to put him at left guard and keep JPJ at right. And I if JPJ's coming back, I'm putting him at center. I'm putting Caleb Rogers next to him. I'm probably moving on from Parham. I'm going to keep him on the roster if he signs the contract because it is his contract year and somebody might pay him, big bucks. But if we go with that, if you go with Colton Miller and you get another left guard and a right tackle, I mean, this offensive line is deep. Or possibly, Charles Grant. What if Charles Grant's ready by camp next year? What if you keep DJ Glaze and you swing him into the right guard spot? I mean, we have pieces that we can work with. We just need a coach to figure them out, who works best together, and roll with that. That's why I believe next year they're not going to be trying to win, right? I think next year they're going to try to do what they should have did this year. See what you have in your quarterback. See what you have in your rookie defensive linemen, defensive tackles, safeties, corners, right? See what you got in these kids, linebackers, and we failed to do that. So I think whoever comes in is going to have to do that next year. That's just the way it is. And maybe they come in and put the right pieces in to the puzzle, and we hit the road running. Cranberry man, what's good? Extra sharp cheddar or regular cheddar? um, I eat pepper jack, bro. I don't know what you're talking about. What time cheese do you think Gino likes best? I don't know. Gino's a rat, bro, so he probably likes any kind of cheese. Have a good one. Holla, holla. Appreciate y'all. Lindenbach is a free agent next year. Viva Sport Track. Yes, he's a free agent because you know, they they failed to sign his 5th year option. But they can still, like I said, just because he's a free agent, they can decide to keep his ass and you know franchise tag him, not let him leave the building. I said it long before Mitchell Rams probably. I was just messing with you, bro. That guy's always be selling other people's takes on his own. No, but I know but I've heard the Lindenbaum shit an awful lot lately. It's like the talk of the town, and I would love to have if you could get the best center in free agency right now, and shit, I don't even think we need a quarterback. I'm willing to roll with I'm willing to roll with Cam Miller for a year. See what he's got at this point. That's the chance they have to take. Yeah, we got to take some kind of chances. We ain't never gonna get better. And if they get a Lindenbaum, you can make JPJ OC like he said this year. Kevin Zitzer at guard instead of Lindenbaum. Yeah, I like JPJ at center. I think he's definitely salvageable. Just his technique alone. It doesn't matter his arm size, but just his mindset, right? His technique, the way his aggressiveness, the way he plays football. He's gonna excel at any position. But I'm gonna say something, and I know most of y'all in here don't follow me and don't watch me all the time. But 2 years ago, I said Devontae Adams would not be on the team the following year. Last year, I said Jack Jones would not be on this team the following year. I said Josh Jacobs would not be on this team. They would not bring him back. He would go somewhere else in free agency. Basically, anything, not anything, but most of the things the people I said would not be here the following year that were going to get traded got traded. Ja'Cory Bennett. As soon as Pete Carroll came in the building, I said, damn, Ja'Cory Bennett went from the number one to the number two to the number three to the number four corner. He's gone. He's going to be traded, right? To make a long story short, I think JPJ might not be here next year, right? Whether it's whether it's Pete Carroll, I know there's a lot of people in the building that love him. I know he's Max Crosby's buddy, but this is a sport and this is a this is a business. And if you have Caleb Rogers continues to play like he has the next 2 weeks, I think Caleb Rogers looked better at right guard than JPJ. If you look at Dylan Parham, the way he's played at left guard, they had a battle at the beginning of the year. JPJ, Dylan Parham. Dylan Parham won that battle, but that was the coaching staff. So where does JPJ fit in if they keep Dylan Parham, right? If they keep Alex Kappa at center, if they keep Jordan Meredith, now we have a problem that we have a lot of guys that might not start on other teams, but they have continuity between each other, right? And I think that could be a problem also. And I just feel like if Pete Carroll's back next year, I really don't see JPJ being on this team. But if you have asset, right, to trade for this draft coming up, don't be surprised if JPJ's name comes up an awful lot. You have $100 million before cap space this offseason. I know, but we had that last year, and what did we get? Who did we sign last year? I'm trying to think. What big free agent? Um, Jeremy Chin. Jeremy Chin was the only, well, I think was the highest paid free agent we brought in, right? $16 million for 3 years. That's a big swing. That's a big swing, right? Um, so I think all that money, Spytek seems like a Dollar Tree, dollar basement shopper, right? I feel like that dude needs to have 30 or $40 million on the books all year long, just in case something happens, right? But I'm hoping I'm wrong, dude. I'm hoping he spends it. We also should let Lackey Tassie, golly, see, man, that's why I'm saying this team. Thank you, Bush Raider. This team is not as far off as people think. If some of these guys just hit, right, and for them to hit, they have to be able to get on the grass and fucking hit somebody. We have to give them opportunities. Lackey Tassie is 6'8" and 340 pounds. 340 pounds at right guard, bro. What if he works out? Then what do you do with Caleb Rogers, JPJ, and Dylan Parham and Jordan Meredith? You have four guards, and then you have Antonio Mafi, who I thought played pretty well, and coming in 2 weeks ago, you don't know. We haven't seen shit from Charles Grant, so I mean, I would almost say that the Raiders could probably get away with not drafting an offensive lineman this year unless there's somebody that just jumps out at you and he's there, right? One or two free agents, I think, fixes this offensive line, and a coach that knows how to coach offensive linemen. I think that's another thing. Um, but damn, we have some pieces, bro. Like we have a chance to have one of the biggest lines in the NFL with Lackey Tassie, with Colton Miller. I mean, damn. If you put the other 7-footer Forsyth over there at right tackle, shit, we got a beefy line. Got a beefy line. I want to see Tassie play too. Illuminar Rotten, both followed Cameron Basilla to the New York Giants. The offensive line is shown in the top 10 units in the league this year. John, another thing is the Van Rotten. I was good on Jermaine Illuminor. Jermaine Illuminor was not good with the Raiders, right? I think Vegas, maybe it was the Vegas thing. I don't know, but he struggled. He gave up a lot of sacks on the blind side, and I wasn't mad at him going. He has, however, played way better with the New York Giants than he did with us. But you got Cameron Basilla, man. It's a top offensive line coach in the NFL. So losing all three of those guys sucked. But I'd have been happy if we would have just kept Brasillo and Van Rotten. I think with this offensive line, bro, and Brasillo, we'd be a top 10, 15 unit all day. We could put JPJ can play left guard. Was Richie Incognito side? I like him at left guard. I do. You know I thought when they were battling in camp with Dylan Parham that he was going to win that job, but obviously the coaching staff has something they do not like with JPJ. Why I hate Pete. We should have been playing Grant right now and all these rookies so we can elevate the team going into evaluate the team going into the draft in the off season. Um, Pete is a selfish dumbass. Yeah, he was worried about his ego. He was worried about his coaching reputation, and he was worried about living up to what he told everybody he was going to live up to. Right? We're going to go out and we're going to win 10 games because that's what I do. And um, yeah, if y'all could subscribe to the channel, I appreciate it. I'm at 1764. Let's go, man. I'm trying to get to 2,000 before the season ends. So if you could sub to the channel, if you could share it with your homies, if you got Raider people that don't know this content, help me out, bro. Help me out. All of y'all appreciate it. But yeah, we've been we've only won 2 games, and after the bye week, it should have been rookie time. It should have been rookie time, and rookie time. It should have been a whole lot of Jack Besh. It should have been a whole lot of Aiden O'Connell throwing to him. Cam Miller, getting his games also. It should have been Lackey Tassie seeing if he could, if he's developed any, which how couldn't you with the offensive line coach we have, right? But yeah, Pete Carroll, man, this is one of the worst setbacks in franchise history. 50 years. 50 years I've followed this damn team. 50. And I can't remember a team that was on the come up, even though they lost, even though they went 4-13, they still had one of the worst seasons when it comes to injuries. We had an offensive line that was 26th in the NFL all year long until December. From December on, they were 13th to 15th, depending on ESPN, um, all their power rankings. So you take that, you move them around, and you destroy everything that we had going. And now we're even 2 or 3 years, setback if we don't get the right people in the building. Congrats on the channel growth. I appreciate you. 199. Shout out for the $2 holla. Merry Christmas to everyone. Have a safe thing, dude. You're psychic. JPJ is our second best offensive lineman. I gotta question that though. I gotta question that. I mean, his intensity is great, but Caleb Rogers looks really, really good, really good. And I know he had more time to sit and learn than JPJ was kind of thrown into the fire. But I really want to see those dudes battle it out. Um, I want to see all these dudes really, really have a camp battle, right? I want to see a head coach that doesn't just talk about compete, but preaches, forces people to compete because we heard compete, compete, compete. Gino was given his job. Landon Roberts was given his job. Devin White was given his job. Not that they didn't earn it, but we don't know because I wasn't in the building. But Pete came in and pointed a lot of people to positions that never lost those positions, right? So yeah, if we can get a raw dog, what's good? Our O line has no continuity. I mean, I think some of the guys do. I think DJ Glaze with Caleb Rogers next to him looks a lot better than he did with Alex Kappa. than he did with JPJ, right? I think having Caleb Rogers, his size, his physicalness next to DJ Glaze has helped him the last two games. He's still one of the worst offensive linemen we have, but it's hard to have continuity when you have an offensive line coach that is not qualified for the position. And I don't care what people say. He did this in Seattle. Yes, he was a tight ends coach. He was a tight ends coach again. He left and went to college as a tight ends coach. That didn't work. He came back to his daddy. That didn't work. He went back to college, took over Washington, destroyed their offensive line and their run game. So, you know, it it's kind of hard to have continuity when you have bad coaching. Bad coaching will destroy any franchise. He had 70 million. Then he spent 40 on Geno's trash ass because of Pete. Yeah, that's crazy. And then they lost the other 30 million because of Christian Wilkins. See, a lot of people don't know that when Christian Wilkins filed that complaint and a grievance against the Las Vegas Raiders for the money that they said they weren't paying him, that $30 million came off the books, right? So if he wins the case, he gets the money. But if he loses the case, shit, I think we get that back. I'm pretty sure. But there ain't no way we're probably gonna win. Went to a game a few weeks ago and left an embarrassed and felt embarrassed that 70% of our stadium was Broncos fans. I mean, you're gonna get that in Vegas until we prove that the fans, the product on the field is worth going and paying $600 for one seat and $800 for a hot dog. I mean, I know the tickets are cheap now, but that's because we suck. Who the hell wants to go to a shitty team and watch a shitty game and watch your team get dog walked by teams you can't despise in your division? So yeah, it's rough for the fans. It's rough for the players. It's rough for the state of Vegas having a new team 5 years and they haven't done shit but make the playoffs with an interim head coach. um, was I able to stop the AIDS? Nah, bro, I'm not Magic Johnson. I don't have that or that money. We need either a guard or a OC, JPJ at right tackle, true number one in the draft, or Mendoza, our defense, our offense, and we'll be good. Jesus died for everyone. I don't know about Mendoza though. I don't know, bro. I don't know. Like, you seen Mendoza? You seen his family, right? His mom, um, being in a wheelchair. I don't know what she has, but is Vegas really the place for Mendoza, right? I mean, it's a crime-ridden city. It's a city that never sleeps. Like, is that really where this young man wants to take his Christian religious family to Las Vegas? I mean, if I'm Mendoza, shit, I'm trying to throw these college football games so I don't have to be drafted to the Raiders. Like, I mean, if it's me, I also believe in starting Aiden O'Connell for a year and letting a rookie sit like Mahomes did behind Smith. 100%. 100%. Even if Aiden plays well and makes it good, trade bait in 2027 off the season. I'm down with that too. But I'm totally opposed if a kid comes in and plays his ass off. You can't just put a guy in because you drafted a guy not knowing what you had in the other guy. So if that guy is playing well, whether it's Aiden, whether it's Cam Miller, or whether it's Kenny Pickett or Gino, you can't just pull him out in the middle of the year or the following year for the rookie. But I'm down with you know a bridge quarterback, and I think Aiden O'Connell. I think anybody that watches my channel that comes in here all the time knows how I feel about Aiden O'Connell. I think the kid was done dirty, and I think he's got a future in it. A future in it if somebody will just give him the chance. We need Lincoln Kennedy back. We need Lincoln Kennedy and Richie Incognito to come coach this offensive line. Respect the loyalty. Appreciate you, my guy. Appreciate you. Yeah, pretty loyal. Pretty loyal. Never mind. Answer the question with that statement. LOL. What's what statement? um. What is the topic today, man? I've been going for like 3 hours, 3.5 hours, so I'm about to jump off here. But whatever y'all want to talk about, Josh McDaniels was the worst ever as a head coach. Yeah, yeah, he's a trash. JPJ doesn't need to battle. You can have them both on the field at the same time. JPJ at either left or OC or right. I like him at center. I like him at center in that position. But I also think, JPJ next to Colton Miller, I kind of like that his rookie year when he was playing over there. I thought he held it down over there too. Can I ask you something? I mean, you just did. What? Why does everybody start calling me Dave Dortney, Dave Portney? I do not look like that dude. But if you think I do enough, where do you think you could snatch up on one of his bank cards and his ID so I could go get some money out the bitch? I would love to have his money though. I want to bet $250,000 on Raider games, bro. Raiders are the sweetest team in the NFL, straight like cupcakes. Damn, bro. That's coming from the prison OG too. That's messed up, bro. I don't know why you want to do my Raiders like that. But I agree though. Pete Carroll has made this team soft. They're soft like wet bread. They are soft like wet bread. If I was Mark Davis, I would take those Indianapolis Colts daughters owners to the show and convince them to trade up and get their franchise quarterback. Gonna cost them four first round picks. Um, I like that, but the Colts don't have a first round this year. They traded it for Sauce Gardner. Pete is worse than McDaniels by a mile. Oh yes, yes, yes. I would, I, I would probably get on one knee and beg Josh McDaniels to come back if they would fire Pete Carroll, and that's saying a lot because I hate that dude almost as much as I do Gino. Oh, thank God I'm at the bottom. At least McDaniels had an offense. Um, growing up in Leeds, he had an ego. He Josh McDaniels not only had an offense, but Derek Carr had 5,000 yards passing, and Devontae Adams had his best year ever, or his second best year ever as a Raider in his first season, and they blow that shit up. It's like anytime we get anything good, and it starts to work, Mark Davis has to fire Del Rio. Derek Carr has to get hurt. John Gruden gets his neck chopped off by Tom Brady leaking the emails. I'm sorry, I didn't say that. But yeah, shit like that always happens with the Raiders, bro. But man, 3.5 hours. I appreciate everybody that rocked with me all night. I appreciate the super chats. I appreciate the love. I appreciate the back and forth. Make sure you like, subscribe, tickle the notification bell so you'll be notified when I go live. Tomorrow, we are going to break down some coaches and see if we can fix this team and get some coaches to come in this building and make us a damn football team again, like Del Rio had us. Um, but love y'all. Peace out. Support one another. Take care of yourself. Take care of your mind. Take care of your family. And always, always, just get it right, baby. Much love. Raiders. Peace. Oh, wait, what Gio say? You woke my ass up. McDaniels brought up Garoppolo. Fuck those guys. Sorry, Gino. Sorry, Gio. Go back to bed, my guy. Appreciate you. This live is over. See y'all tomorrow. Peace.